or Nico Nico is a video sharing service similar to YouTube. It launched on December 12th of 2006, which is 16 years ago now. Like I mentioned earlier, it's unique in the fact that the comments from the video commenters would slide across the screen. With more popular videos, more comments would slide across the screen, making it look more chaotic and funny. And yes, these on-screen comments can be turned off. In Japanese, the term Nico Nico means to smile. If you're familiar with the anime meme Nico Nico ni, that's pretty much the same thing. The word doga is in reference to animation or a moving picture or video, though in Japanese animation terminology, a doga is the rough sketch before the actual animation is created. I actually have a couple dogas from the anime City Hunter. They look like this. Anyways, before I get too off topic, Nico Nico Doga as a site actually originally hosted YouTube videos and didn't have its own video player, though this quickly changed in the year 2007 when it gained its own video infrastructure. And it was around this time in the late 2000s where Nico Nico Doga began to expand in popularity, not just in Japan, but overseas with anime fans as well. People were drawn to it because this era was chaotic. The memes that made their way onto the site were nothing short of chaotic in themselves. While meme humor is really odd in today's age, nothing really compares to the yelling, chaos, and remix clips that Nico Nico Doga was associated with. And I, being a teenager during Hatsune Miku's emergence, as well as the peak of the online mad video, I was there for it and I loved it. And by looking at the age of most of these videos, that was a long time ago. And by the way, if you're unfamiliar with what a mad video is, don't worry, I will give you the rundown. We have a lot of topics to cover in this video, so without wasting more time, let's get started. So, first thing first, in order to fully understand Nico Nico and Japanese internet culture of this era, we must first understand the mad video and Japanese remix culture as a whole. And because of that, we have to start at the very beginning, predating even the internet. In 1980s Japan, some university students would take up amateur film and audio editing simply to make funny things to share with friends. These were commonly known as mad tapes. The origins are said to date back to Osaka University in the year 1978. The term mad itself stemmed from their original terminology, as they were originally referred to as kichigai tapes or madness tapes. Somewhere along the way, they became better known as mad tapes because it's short for the English translation of kichigai, madness. These tapes would typically either feature news audio spliced together for comedic effect on a cassette tape, or anime news footage and other interesting visuals combined on a VHS tape for the same purpose. Honestly, the Japanese mad community sounds like such a cool community to have been a part of back in its era. So thinking of really how to experience back in that day to fully be a part of it, it kind of reminds me of early Western anime communities and how they would exchange VHS tapes of fan dubs at conventions. Something so underground and just so cool to me. If I had the resources to collect something as niche as a anyways, the popularity remained, but the hobby remained niche due to technical limitations. That is, until home computers and the internet made this hobby a whole lot more doable and shareable. And from there, it took off and became an entirely different beast. I mean, I could explain how, but I think you'll get the point if I do. show you guys a few popular Nico Nico Mad videos.
Healing up. Eyes are open now. Healing up. Eyes are open though.
They're similar in nature to a YouTube poop or AMV. Two things that were also very popular during this time period. Much like their tape predecessors, they were parody or remix videos that had audio clips and anime and other bizarre things mixed together for comedic effect. As far as what was mixed and spliced together for the Mad video, it really varied. Anything from anime, motivational videos, McDonald's commercials, interviews with celebrities, anything goes. But basically, all you need to know is their video remixes that spliced up a lot of words, remix songs to words and clips from different things, and it was all over Nico Nico for a significant amount of time. There are a lot of different Mad video trends, too much to talk about in this segment just explaining the basics of it. We're gonna talk about different trends and where they originated from throughout this video and throughout the series. Trust me when I say there are a lot.
Okay, class, who would like to do problem 3 on the board? Please don't be me. Please don't be me. I know, Miss Einstein. Let's give someone else a try, Ralphie. How about you, Sophia?
If you're with me,
Hatsune Miku, who is now an easily recognizable figure in anime and Japanese culture in general, made her start and explosion in popularity through fan-made songs and animations uploaded to Nico Nico. But let's start with the basics. Each Vocaloid software features its own unique Vocaloid character, which has its own unique appearance and vocal assets. And surprisingly enough, its first incarnation was not Hatsune Miku. Vocaloid saw its official beginning in the year 2000 and was created by a university in Barcelona, Spain, and backed by Yamaha and Krypton Future Media. At this time, it wasn't meant to see a public commercial release. It was 4 years later, in 2004, that the first public version was released. These were technically two different versions of the same software, one male and one female. Their names being Leon and Lola, respectively. And get this, they were not represented by an anime avatar. So, when did the anime avatar format debut? Also, in 2004 with the very first anime Vocaloid, Mickle.
Level 2.
Next came Keito, the first male Vocaloid. But when Hatsune Miku made her debut in August of 2007 using the updated Vocaloid 2 engine, well, that's when things really took off. Miku was truly intended to be a virtual idol from the very start, being marketed with a story that she was a 16-year-old artificial intelligence unit from a time in the future where all songs are completely lost. Hatsune Miku develops powers and her own sentience gradually from the songs she receives. For it's through these songs that she learns and becomes her own unique being. Miku's story encourages the fanbase to create music for her, and it's through her software and cute idol-esque image that many famous songs were born. Not only that, but many famous songwriters and producers came about by sharing their songs and unique music videos on Nico Nico Dolga. Miku's first online hit is arguably 2007's original upload and rendition of the Finnish folk song Livan Polka. Well, not an original song and not even Miku's first song since her program came included with demo tracks. This one especially took off due to its association with the Leak Spin meme, featuring the folk song and a gift for the character Orihime Unoe from Bleach. It definitely wouldn't be long before NND was flooded with original Miku songs by fans, however. One that remains especially popular today is 2008's Polpipo, a mainly nonsensical song selling vegetable juice for only 200 yen or 2,000 yen. This one is likely her most famous in general. I mean, most internet users out there have heard the famous Popipo at some point now. In the years since Miku's emergence, a plethora of songs and corresponding videos have made their way to NND. Far too many to count and truly document, which is quite sad since many Vocaloid songs and videos have become completely lost. Lost and unconfirmed media is a big issue with NND in general. That and lost Vocaloid stuff are other videos for other days. What does remain is still a very large amount though. Most of the big ones are cataloged under Nico Nico's Vocaloid Hall of Legends tag, and as of this video, it features 797 songs. Many by Miku, but also a good amount by the 20-year-old Luca and the 14-year-old twins Ren and Len, other Vocaloids. The original Meko and Keiko Vocaloids also saw original songs and updates to the newer Vocaloid versions due to Miku's influence. The Vocaloid videos that I remember best from this era would have to be World Is Mine, Rolling Girl, Just Be Friends, and Butterfly on Your Right Shoulder. All of them still hold up really well today. Beyond the mainline Vocaloids, there's even the emergence of off-brand Vocaloids made possible by a free program known as Utao, the most famous of which being Hasane Keiko, who was intentionally meant to be a troll version of Miku that was falsely teased on THUGSHAKER as an upcoming official Vocaloid. Despite this, Keiko became incredibly popular on NMB in her own right, even collaborating with Miku, in a way, in the song/popular NMB upload Triple Baka. Keiko's most famous original song has to be this one though, a simple song in animation known as Fukuoka. This was another NMB trend that was parodied in different animations. I'll talk about that one later at some point. The cool thing about Miku and the other Vocaloids to follow is that they have a presence in the real world as well. This is through technological innovation, providing holograms of the characters for concerts. This has been going on for a while now. Anyone remember the Fine Bros React videos? They had an Elders React video where they watched footage of the Vocaloid concert. This video was uploaded over a decade ago. There's also media and merchandise, most notably the Project Diva series of video games. In addition to that, Hatsune Miku herself does have a real-world voice actor, or rather voice provider. Her name is Saki Fujita. Born in 1984, she's the provider of Miku's voice bank, as well as her VA in the Sega video games, commercials, and during public appearances, among many other things. The one that always comes to mind for me is this 7-Eleven ad.
Jesus Christ. Those guys just look and then...
Miku tayo.
Oh, and there's also the man who married Hatsune Miku. Believe me when I say Hatsune Miku is an unmistakable element of Japanese culture now, and it's all thanks to her influence on Nico Nico Doga. We're gonna dive into individual songs throughout the series, at least the more influential ones. So, without making this section
I don't know,
let's move on to
they were far.
Okay.
I'm feeling in my heart right now, Bonfire.
Opening 5, I have been down.
Oh gosh, where do I even begin with this one? Well,
I didn't even have
is a
the time
series of
to
bait-and-switch videos and mad remixes. They all involve, well, how do I put this in a way that's PG? Homosexual adult videos, just gonna directly say that, that's what they are. And they all featured an actor named Billy Harrington. This actor is better known in Japan by the nickname online users bestowed upon him, that name being Aniki, which is basically a bro way of referring to a big brother or big brother type figure. And because Japan is, well, Japan, there came about a trend of baiting online users with clips of Harrington's films. The very first to come about was in the year 2007 using a rather intense wrestling scene from the movie Workout Muscular Men 3. Yes, specifically the third movie. This phenomenon can only be described as Japan's equivalent to the Rickroll, a popular 2chan and NND trend of this time that drew attention to the videos Billy Harrington was involved in. And from here, things only escalated into what I can only describe as the Aniki-verse. Among the most deceivingly bizarre was the Gachimuchi variant of the famous Yumi Matsutoya song Haru Yokoi. I remember years ago really liking the song and Yumi Matsukoya's music in general. I still do to this day very much. But back then, Spotify didn't really have a lot of Japanese music in the West, and Spotify wasn't really popular at all either. So I ended up finding this music through importing CDs on Amazon or looking on YouTube for them. And the YouTube route is how I ended up being bombarded with a lot of videos claiming to be the right version of this song and not being the right version, depending on what you were looking for, that is. Because, you know, if by right you meant the original Yumi Matsukoya recording of this song, it wasn't the right version. And then there were the Gachimuchi Mad videos that took off beyond this. Among the most famous being a video titled Ultimate Muscle Roller Legend. It features Billy with another Gachimuchi muscle man as they're involved in a dramatic initial gas car race as they try and reach a Vocaloid driving a steamroller. That's the Japanese internet, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the video's official synopsis provided by the YouTube upload. Deep in the forest live Billy and his charming companions. They peacefully home their bodies and listen to music there. But a wave of development came upon the forests. One who would turn all to road. Kagamine-rin would come. Billy must stop the construction before all is turned to road. Beyond this, there exists an abundance of mad remixes. This genre of video was known to contain intentionally misleading tags on the site. Among these tags include the terms of wrestling series, philosophy, and forest. People on NMD began to take the Gachimuchi universe so seriously that a set of principles was set in place to follow if making a Gachimuchi video. Above everything else was how Aniki himself was to be portrayed, a philosophical guide and embodiment of a true big brother. Aniki was seen as a benevolent and wise being on Nico. The intention was never to mock or poke fun, and the Japanese internet made sure to establish that lore. And with the surge of videos featuring Aniki, the real-life Billy Harrington became a beloved figure in Japan and
was
saw a
trying
great
to
deal of
sound
fame
like
there.
was
Films used were all
impossible.
filmed during the 1990s, and the surge in recognition was unexpected to Harrington at this point. In the year 2009, Aniki himself traveled to Japan for a Valentine's Day Nico Nico livestream, as well as take part in talk show appearances and interviews.
Nico Nico Doga.
Over 10,000 fans alone showed up to the Nico Nico event. During this time, Japanese figure company Good Smile even released an articulated Figma figurine of Harrington. There are many references to Harrington in Japanese media on top of this. Japan loved Billy Harrington, and Harrington himself welcomed this newfound fame.
And when I found out all the way from the United States the love of the Japanese fans, we knew I had to come here.
Recharging my
Very
shields.
grateful.
Referring to Japan in interviews as a second home to him. Unfortunately, Harrington passed away in 2018 following a car accident. Tribute videos flooded Nico
Jesus
Nico
Christ.
during the week
I
following
have like
Harrington's
7
passing.
grenades on
The
my
infamous
inventory. That's why
grenade is seen when looking at the
Yeah.
YouTube comments of the more
I have
famous
no
Nico Nico
freaking
uploads.
item to loot earlier, just
Many
you
people
just grab
commenting
grenades.
things like "Sleep tight, Aniki," or "I'll never forget you, Aniki." These comments are both in English and
Got some
Japanese,
materials.
showing how much of an impact these videos really had on the internet at the time. Yeah, I'm sure many of you guys saw this one coming already. It's really easy to research Nico Nico topics and
open
suddenly
10
get
of
overwhelmed
this.
by Toho stuff.
Yep.
And while I don't want this video and series as a whole to be a ton of Toho topics, I definitely gotta talk about it.
Is it Vault
Making
and
this
SMG,
video and not
right?
mentioning Toho's impact
Huh?
on NND and the Japanese
Vault?
internet as a whole,
Well,
even
It's
an
today,
SMG, right?
would be like making a
Yep.
slice of toast and putting
It's
nothing on it,
called
just
SMG.
eating it dry. That's how influential Toho has been on the site. So, what even is a Toho? Well, Toho Project is a video game series. The games themselves are scrolling shooters and have been released to PCs since the year 1995.
Need to get like
The
10
interesting thing
50
about
knockdown
Toho
of
games is
SMG.
that they're not developed
Fuck.
by a big game developer. Rather, they have all been created by one sole person alone. This person's name is Junya Ota, though his online name is simply Zun. His development company is known as Team Shanghai Alice, and it's what's referred to in Japan as a doujin game developer or independent game developer. Zune is the company's sole employee. As of 2023, Zune has developed and published over 30 Toho Project games. The game itself, its art, music, programming, all of that is done solely by Zune. These games feature an unexpectedly large cast of characters, the majority of which being teen anime girls. This aided in making the game series popular, and many fans began releasing fanworks involving the characters of the games. This includes unofficial anime and fans online writing their own lore and personality traits for the characters. Among the most popular is the character Alice Magadroid, who was written by fans as a shy and sweet girl who loves dolls, when she was originally insinuated to be cold and standoffish in the game. Among the most popular online creations involving Toho are the music remixes. Popular songs from Toho games have been used as the basis to many mad videos. Among the most popular Toho songs remixed within these videos are You and Owen Was Her and Maurice's Soul of Understood. And then, of course, there was this.
Enemy taken out.
That Apple is arguably the most memorable and impactful Toho video on Nico Nico. Not only featuring the 1998 Toho song of the same name, but presenting a unique visual presentation of the many Toho characters as distinguishable silhouettes.
Oh, I
The
barely have
original
life.
NND upload was the very first to attain 10 million views on the site.
Come on,
It
bro.
reached this
There's like
milestone
3 of us
way
here,
back
man,
in
and I'm the one who
2010.
doesn't have bullet.
Bad Apple is one particular track
This
from the game
fucking progress,
series that
man,
has
is
seen
so
an abundance of covers,
But
remakes,
AI
and
design.
of course, remixes.
I can go vault. There you go.
I need a
Alright, that's
better.
convenient.
While a lot of these videos
Oh,
and memes
never
were
mind.
somewhat known outside of Japan at one point with, you know, anime and otaku culture and all that,
Mm,
this is
what
one
are you
series of
using, Eva?
videos that actually took off more
I
overseas.
just
than
got.
it did
No,
in
no, no.
Japan.
Here, must be.
At
It's
least that's the
'cause
impression
I had
overseas, and
a
all of the
Mozambique.
Japanese are blog posts describing how the videos took off overseas.
Jesus,
And when the
oh
view
my
counts vary
good
greatly
lord.
compared to the YouTube re-uploads with
Recharging my
English
shields.
titles. This could be because NND deleted the original uploads, but I can't really figure that out because NND is NND and there's a lot of lost media. The video series itself is often referred to as akapaka or red parka, parka being a hoodie. Kinda like how American sweaters or sweatshirts are referred to as jumpers in England and Australia. Are they sweaters in Canada though, or are they jumpers? I have no clue. Please let me know in the comments. Anyways, this series is called Red Parka due to the man in the videos wearing just that. It follows a man in Sendai, a city in northern Japan, as he does elaborate and bizarre things throughout the
I
town.
won't shut that
This
word.
ranges from dumping a bucket of water over his head, jumping a lot, whatever this thing is, breaking a kusudama or paper party ball filled with confetti and streamers, and of course becoming a human flamethrower. All the shorts have the same catchy theme music with the words changed up to fit the theme, and the same low budget comedic visuals. Very early YouTube, but you know, early NND instead. The best known of the shorts is Broken Wear, where he quite literally busts out of his clothes with just his boxers remaining in various locations throughout Sendai. I mean, he does all the other things within Sendai too, and other popular locations throughout the region. One in particular being Matsushima, a famous bay with 260 tiny islands scattered throughout it. It is very scenic, often considered one of the most scenic spots within Japan. Red Parka Guy verbally identifies the spot before
Picked up
performing
some
the broken
materials,
wear stunt in a
just so they know
boat
who
within
they're facing.
Matsushima. I assure you, it's very silly. The visuals are especially funny in Broken Wear, especially the bits where you can see the other dudes pulling the strings that break the clothes apart. And then there's the narration and music. My favorites are the Sendai Dash parts.
Who's shooting? Oh, there.
Fucking gamers, man.
Where's GBC?
If that becomes successfully stuck in your head, let me know in the comments. Anyways, 8 of these Red Parka shorts were uploaded to Nico Nico in total throughout 2008. These were officially titled Broken Wear, Bucket Reverser, Breath Fire, Smoking Cheddar, Jumping
Yeah,
Jump,
they gotta-
Kusudama Breaker, Jumping Chump 2,
Oh, good, that
and
thing.
Broken Wear
This or
2 Electric Boogaloo. After that, it would appear that the Red Parka guy quietly faded out. In
Very
late
blue.
2010, an English YouTube channel known as WTF Japan Seriously, known for finding weird and funny
Good.
Japanese clips, uploaded a compilation of the shorts. This is where it really took
Care
off
package
outside
over
of
there.
Japan, and by take off I mean getting about
Shield
3,000
broken.
views. And it would seem that this was the end of Red Parka. Though, with a little more searching in Japanese, I was able to track down more details behind
taking
this
shots.
interesting series. And it turns out, Red Parka
That
guy
good
is still
switch.
very much active today, and actually, they consist of a whole group of performers. So the group is called
Recharging my
Shido A,
shields.
or Sido A in English. Their performance group founded in, you guessed it, Sendai,
Reloading.
in 2002. The members all attended Miyagi
26
Hirose High School within Sendai together, and
Recharging
that's
my
how they
shields.
met. The main guy, the one featured in all the Red Parka shorts, is named Ryosuke Sato, and is the official founder of the group and now CEO. It appears that Red Parka may have been their big break, as Shido A was signed to the talent agency Muse in 2009, following those 2008 NND uploads. Looking at their Wikipedia page, following being signed in 2009, they made a lot of TV appearances. Judging by their official site and their recent performances, these guys have improved significantly since the Red Parka shorts. They've performed all over the world. I mean, look at this stuff. It's really, really good. They do have a YouTube page, but
Just
it's
using a
only
Phoenix
at
kit.
around 6,000 subs, which is criminal for people of this talent. So please do your pal a favor and subscribe to these guys or follow them on their socials. They really deserve it. They work very hard and they're very talented. But all of that aside, I'm happy to see them doing good.
Oh, there it is.
What?
Referring to both men
You can rest me here
boys and
behind.
girls. It's meant to refer to both
Shield broken.
and later
That's my bad.
2006 rock song Damjo by This song itself was created on a
Wow.
making its success rather impressive. The original upload of the song was made live in December of 2006 on NND. The
Bap.
lyrics themselves
There it
are
is.
as simple as the title,
Ooh, they got
simply
joke.
a teacher figuring out the seating arrangement of their students.
Wow.
Most of its
The door
simplicity
opened to the
is
other
very
side.
catchy.
Looks like you threw away your
That's
shot.
my
Video
bad.
trends themselves
I didn't
didn't
see
begin
the
until
freaking-
2008,
I got
when
tagged
various
twice when I was
users
midair.
began filming themselves dancing to the song.
Unlucky.
The earliest to do so was NND user Kilroy in January of 2008. This specific user set the trend for the dance itself, and others soon followed, including this popular version by Ito Kutora, or just Ikura, though many other versions preceded this one. It was with trends like this that many dancers actually became popular on NND as well and became famous later on in life. We'll explore some of them in the next episode. It was around the same time in 2008 that the animation parodies came about as well. Similar in nature to the dance videos, and featuring some of the dance itself, but also illustrating the classroom setting. Artists made use of this with various fictional characters and series, including Vocaloid, Super Smash Bros. Fighters, and other popular video games and anime series during this time. I especially remember the Smash Bros. Brawl version. And in retrospect, it seems that the animations are more remembered than the dances themselves. However, while on that note, let's go ahead and take a look at yet another dance trend that had its beginning on Nico Nico Doga, one that a lot of you likely
I'm
remember.
the jump master. I'll cut us a path.
This, whatever this is, should look
Here we
familiar
go.
to
Ready
a
up.
good number of you out there watching. If not, then boy howdy, get ready for one of the most bizarre memes in the history of bizarre memes. Actually, most memes are weird and they're only weird. GoldenEye 007, a video game in 1997 for the Nintendo 64. It was groundbreaking for
Contact
its
with hostile.
time and was a pioneer in the FPS genre. Despite that, it's an old game and has its fair share of bugs and glitches. Most
Oh,
notably
let's
this
go.
one.
Oh, my headphone is flying. That's sad. Where is 1 HP by the way?
This bizarre glitch has characters jerking around all over the place. The glitch itself was taken note of online as early as the year 2000, and it is super difficult to As a matter of fact, the 2008 allowed to encounter it, as all that's required is something called cartridge tilting, or slowly lifting one side of the M64
Next
card
ring's
so
far.
it's inserted at an angle.
Ash
Doing this to
below
the
with
left
the
side of a
alternator
GoldenEye
one.
card when
Picked up our
encountering the
teammates'
specific
went to the
guard will
stairs.
cause the glitch.
Yeah.
It's actually triggered with a number of NPCs. Now, at some point in 2007, following demonstrations of the glitch surfacing on YouTube and Nico Nico, online users decided it looked like some kind of
Need to
bizarre
recharge my
dance.
shields.
And thus, the original upload of the glitch paired with music was uploaded. This video, 7 GoldenEye Chaos
Ring's
Carnival
closing in
Get
one.
Done,
We're not very
includes
close.
the name of the song that is now synonymous with the meme. This song being promised by
That is
Chloe
outside of the
Beyonce,
wall.
also Beyonce was already a popular singer before the glitch, having been
We got
signed to
this.
Victor Entertainment.
No, fuck you,
Well,
way.
this was her second
shot.
single, her first being back in 1993. And at around the same time as Promise was released, her song Groovy was made the first ending theme to the Cardcaptor Sakura anime a year later in 1998. And, random fact about Hirose, her songs have been featured in various commercials for the winter sports store Alpen. She's had kind of a little partnership with them since 1993. And because people in Japan are now accustomed to hearing her music on TV in the winter, she's been dubbed the Queen of
Okay, I'm gonna
Winter
do one
by
last
the
game.
public.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
do
because
something
Promise
quick.
and all the
Okay.
other music I mentioned by
gonna
Hirose
stay
is
in
very
this one.
much
I'm just gonna do it.
copyrighted, I can't play any
Okay.
of it here. Her music is on Spotify though if you want to listen to it
watch it
officially.
later.
Back to the meme though. The combination of the bizarre glitch and an upbeat pop song that matches it perfectly made the 2007 video take off in popularity. It definitely did not end there though. It was about a year after the initial upload with the song Promise synced to the glitch in 2008 when the dance video started surfacing. The very first
days
being
are
by a
coming to
user
us.
named Lamaze P, a famous NND creator also responsible for the original Polpipo and Fukireta videos. Lamaze created this simple animation, a 2chan shift disc art doing a choreographed rendition of the glitch. From here, a large number of real people began creating their own take on the dance.
This is your
Because the
champion.
human body cannot levitate and contort in the same way as the actual glitch, this dance was made possible with thanks to creative
I'm the jump
video
master.
editing and jump
This time.
cuts. The trend remained popular throughout 2008 and 2009, but really
I'm the
took
jump
off when
master.
overseas
No
internet
stranger.
users took note of the
Enough
dance and
lambing
started
around, we
covering
drop
it
it.
on YouTube as well. But now comes a bit of bad news. Remember a little while ago when I said that Komu Hirose was signed by Victor Entertainment? Well, they're a pretty big record label in Japan, much like how Toei is to
Let's
anime.
go.
That and the fact that Japan is very strict about copyright in general led to mass takedowns of the
have
original
no
Get Down
fucking
videos sometime in the 1910s. Because of this, a huge chunk of the original
I'm still
videos,
eating.
What is this? There's no gun.
upload by Ramaze P are lost media. That original Ramaze P video is on YouTube, but the original upload is lost, and a lot of
It's
them, a
like
lot of the
super low.
video covers that people dance to are gone for good, as in they're not on YouTube. I don't want to sound like a broken record as this video goes on, but a tremendous amount of content from Nico Nico Doga is completely lost now. And this is among the biggest casualties next to lost Vocaloid songs. It's very
Just us
unfortunate,
now.
but a lot of these videos just don't exist.
Dude, this is the most
So, currently,
saddest
some
good job I ever-
under certain terms, these parodies are still
No,
made today.
no,
And many
no.
parodies have come about as well, and
No.
the more recent installments in this old
There's a
trend
freaking,
have been
like,
preserved on YouTube for the
2
most
floors. The bins up top without guns. I went to the second floor, no guns. I went to the first floor, I got an EVA. Wow. You play, I'm gonna watch you. To do something. Just a moment. What is that fucking drop, man? Like, what is that RNG?
I used to
I
think
mean?
this
Not
one
that
was hilarious. Like,
So
little
stupid.
teenager me would think this video, or rather the remixes of these videos with this clip, were so funny that I would pause the video because I was so out of breath laughing and I would not want to miss any more of it because it was just so darn funny. I was just that entertained by it. Enemy Controller is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It was famously featured in Yu-Gi-Oh's original Duel Monsters series by the character Seto Kaiba. While Kaiba is a pretty extra dude himself, the famous enemy controller scene was an additional level of silliness. It's a giant floating controller. It looks kinda like a Sega Genesis controller. And Kaiba yelled out controller commands as if he was trying to reach the secret menu in an old Sonic game. The silliness was most certainly taken note of by people on the internet, as well as Kaiba's intense voiceover. For that reason, it made for prime real estate for mad remixes. The first being a remix of Marisa Stole the Precious Thing that was titled Kaiba Entered the Horrible Command. Many more remixes would follow. Shizuo Matsuoka is a former professional tennis player. He had a successful professional career from 1986 up until his retirement in 1998. Among his most notable achievements in tennis was reaching the quarterfinals at Wimbledon in 1995. This was despite suffering from severe muscular cramps that left him immobile for long periods of time. During the US Open that same year, Matsuoka literally collapsed in pain during a game. Because calling for a medic would result in forfeiting the game itself, Matsuoka refused to give up and suffered in pain for a long duration of time, ultimately hoping to be able to get up and resume the match. Unfortunately, too much time passed and Matsuoka had to forfeit due to the time delay instead. This specific event was so monumental in the world of tennis at this point that the regulations changed to accommodate medical attention without forfeit in the future. This is no longer an issue in modern-day professional tennis. Matsuoka's tennis career is not the source of the memes, though his excellent ability to persevere is very much relevant. Following his retirement, Matsuoka remained relevant, especially in the Japanese tennis scene. He's a popular sports commentator and hosts for young people playing tennis. But again, none of this is why he's famous online. That came about with a little series Matsuoka started in the year 2006 titled Kona Anata ni, or For You.
Introducing your champion.
This is a series of short motivational videos posted to Matsuoka's webpage. Known for his energetic character and perseverance, Matsuoka would shoot these episodes in bizarre locations he encountered while traveling for work, all with the same level of energy and encouragement. The series didn't officially gain traction until a compilation of all the shorts was uploaded to NND in early 2008. This compilation being titled Shizuo Matsuoka, Message to Nico Users, Enthusiastic. The combination of being inspired by this man's words and also being very confused by the bizarre visuals quickly took off from here. And you guessed it, mad compilations soon followed suit. As these remixes increased in popularity, fan art came about on Twitter and throughout the Japanese internet as a whole. Fans saw Matsuoka as a divine being or deity of the Japanese internet. In a similar fashion to Aniki, Matsuoka himself has gone on record saying he loves the fan response and the mads. He very much welcomed the memes. Today, Matsuoka is still very much alive and well and relevant. He often appears in television shows, notably including travel-related ones, and has been in many ads and since. He's been married to TV Tokyo announcer and fellow athlete Emiko Taguchi since 1998, and the couple have 3 children. From what I can tell, Matsuoka still has that same excitement and energy even today. Honestly, like if you watch the series on YouTube now, it's very inspiring, very inspiring. Go and seek out your dreams.
Need to recharge my shields.
Yet another bizarre trend of this era was the remixing of, well, McDonald's commercials. The fast food chain has been prevalent in Japan for decades now, opening its first Japanese location in Ginza over the summer of 1971. Since then, the menu has expanded and adapted to the interests of the Japanese consumer. They have really good seasonal foods, like burgers made with sakura, or rice instead of buns. I really like the rice bun burgers, they're really good. The McDonald's brand, as well as Ronald McDonald himself as their mascot, has remained a household name within the country. They've had commercials going since the 70s. They've been airing commercials in Japan as long as the chain has existed in Japan since the 1970s. Same goes for the commercials that feature Ronald McDonald, ranging from wholesome to surreal. The commercials that aired in the mid-2000s, specifically an ad series from between 2004 and 2007 referred to as Donald's Rumors, served as source material for the most famous Mad remixes. This includes Ronald McDonald Insanity and Domerdo. These remixes featured Ronald McDonald using the term Dandandu. Dandandu itself is an expression used by Donald McDonald. That's right, his name isn't Ronald McDonald in Japan, it's Donald McDonald. That's supposed to signify happiness. It's accompanied by silly hand gestures, which make it even more memeable. The ads themselves consist of Ronald Donald answering basic questions about himself and doing generally silly stuff like falling on a park bench, doing calisthenics, and other simple things that were made silly by Donald's antics. The ads were a meme a couple years prior to NND's existence, actually, as images taken from the ads were often used as reaction images on 2chan. This one, by far, is the most famous. It simply says, "You, step outside," and was a polite way of saying, basically, GTFO. The video parodies began their emergence on Nico Nico in 2007, the very first being a mashup of Dandandu clips with clips from the tokusatsu television show Ultraman Mebius. This remix was created by a user named Sukopen. The most famous Mad remix of the ads, however, went to the tune of UN Owen Was Her, surprise surprise. The original upload to NND was in 2008, but has since been deleted. That is unfortunately the case for many NND uploads from this era. Re-uploads to YouTube are luckily also common, and this video was preserved that way by a user named Mr. Horseshoe. The YouTube upload currently sits at over 18 million views. The impact of these ads and the parodies still remains in Japan. I mean, they still make McDonald's ads, of course, and many others were memed in addition to the series. But this version of Donald Ronald is best remembered and even included in the fighting game Mugen. Heck, the first of these ads aired almost 20 years ago now. The Dandandu commercials were a childhood staple to many in Japan without even considering the memes. There are adults now that grew up to these organic ads on TV. That's kind of crazy to me. The Japanese word okusenman is an interesting word in itself. It literally means 100 million. However, because the number is so ridiculously large, I've seen the term okusenman
How about
used to
that?
connote something that is limitless. With that said, our next topic is a famous video known as Omoide wa okusenman, aka 100 million memories or limitless memories. Typically referred to as simply Okusenman, the basis of the video itself is a popular medley of songs from the game Mega Man 2, primarily the theme of Dr. Wily's castle with bits of the song Blue Fang covered in. While these songs originated from a Famicom NES game with no lyrics, fans wrote their own to go over Okusenman. In early 2007,
Let me know if you guys see a triple
user
take,
named
or not a
Home
triple take,
uploaded the song medley providing their own vocals.
fucking charge right.
Let's regroup here. Nemesis here.
The lyrics did not describe the game itself or the story. Instead, a tale of nostalgia and long
Got
past
some
childhood
materials.
are communicated. The speaker comes to the realization that his life, as well as the life of his childhood friends, are vastly different than what it once was, and that they
Charge
can
rifle
never
here.
go back to their childhood. In 2007, children who grew up in the 1980s with the early Mega Man games were now young adults. When correlating the time period with the song, it makes it pretty clear that the speaker was someone still adjusting to the adult world and trying to hold on to the child they once were. It's a very touching song, especially listening to it as an adult. The best-known video covering Omoide wa Okusenman was uploaded in 2007 by a user named Chrome.
Picked up some materials.
This version includes a flash animation music video. Not long after the original upload, a version with English subtitles made its way onto YouTube as well, making the version with the flash animation the best known overseas. This scene, particularly at the end of the animated version, where the adult sees his child self, has always stuck with me. The original upload and cover by Gon remains the best remembered in Japan, however. It surpassed 5 million views back in 2011. Today, it sits at over 8 million. Yes, Kumikyoku. What Kumikyoku essentially is a series of music medleys uploaded to Memory Doga. They were originally uploaded by a user named Shimo. In the 5 years following the initial upload of Kumikyoku, many other users would do their own take on it and do different remixes of the song. You simply cannot talk about Nico Nico Doga and the influential content of Nico Nico Doga without talking about Kumikyoku. The same goes for another really well-known music medley on Nico Nico Doga, and we will get there. A typical Kumikyoku upload will have many different songs, oftentimes tunes that were popular from that particular era, being the mid to late 2000s. Sometimes this would be anime themes, such as the immensely popular theme from Lucky Star. Video game OSTs were common as well, such as that of Mega Man and Final Fantasy. These various tunes would be transitioned between and uploaded alongside some swirly visuals onto Nico Nico. What really led to the series exploding in popularity are the sheer amount of people who would write lyrics, sing vocals, or play instruments alongside these medleys and upload their own take on it to the site. Some would even go on to create their own medleys featuring different songs. In the past, these songs have been adapted into memes, where pockets of smaller communities would try to make the medleys out of audio samples from other places, such as Jack Black on Sesame Street or sound effects from Super Mario World. This is yet another famous remix, and possibly the most chaotic of them all. There is a lot to unpack here, but let's start with the basics. Meteor shower in Japanese, and the song mashup itself is basically a meteor shower of different clips and references. There are a lot of NND references in here, and a lot of them also have some feature. But there's a lot of anime references that are unrecognizable without understanding the meme context. Long story short, there's a lot of stuff in here. In total, there are at least 50 different pieces of media incorporated into a short 15 minutes. I found a 2009 blog post listing the most prominent clips. Notable songs and references include the openings to Lucky Star and Haruhi Suzumiya, two anime that were released in the late 2000s, the song that played during the school days nice boat footage, Danjo, Okusenman, the I'm Loving It McDonald's slogan, the Action 52 game Cheetah Men, and of course our beloved Miku. This combination makes Ryusei-kun basically the official theme of NND. It even has its own logo and mascot. Now, the song itself isn't a remixed version of any already existing song. It's a medley of different songs that in itself creates its own song. Also, there's two versions, the original Ryusei-gun and the Chaos version, both released by the user Shimol in 2008. The latter is better known because of its re-upload to YouTube, and it's often the main result when Ryusei-gun is searched in English. But now, here comes some more bad news. I bet you can see where this is going by now. That's right, the original upload is gone. While re-uploads have garnered millions of views, the original upload by Shimo is gone for good. The oldest upload to YouTube discusses what a big deal this was, as the song was among the best known and most loved on the platform. And remember, despite the fact that re-uploads do exist, the original on-screen comments are lost for good. That was a huge part of the Nico Nico experience. Part of the reason why NND is so far from its glory days now is due to things like this. But yeah, the YouTube re-upload has been going strong for just about 15 years now, so feel free to check that out if you've never seen this chaotic feat in editing. Azumanga Daioh, a gag manga turned anime series by Kiyohiko Azuma, may be the most memeable anime in the history of animes to ever be memed. It's a slice of life series that walked so later series like Haruhi Suzumiya and Lucky Star could run.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Fine, thank you.
Now, as far as my statement with anime and being memeable and all that, that's certainly debatable, but I don't know any other anime that's as continuously memed. Memes have been coming out from the series creation all the way to, like, a day ago on Instagram and TikTok. And this anime only had one season, and it was years ago. It's also the anime that started the waifu phrasing within the otaku culture that originated from a scene in Azumanga Daioh. But yeah, Azumanga Daioh parodies and memes were a big part of NND in its prime. A common trend of the early NND era was parodying the opening. This ranged from mad videos parodying the opening to whole-ass fan animations recreating the opening with characters from other series. My favorite of these was a recreation of the opening that used characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me tell you, I am so glad this one is still up in its original form on NND. A rare Nico W during these trying times. But what makes me so very sad is how I can no longer find like half of these fan-created openings. Many were so beautifully animated and among my favorite videos to watch around 2010, 2011-ish, and they're now just gone. I mean, just look at the Know Your Meme page here. Something that hasn't been updated in quite some time. I mean, with just this specific meme niche alone, look how many casualties NND has seen over the years.
Cargo access
My
requested.
goodness,
Valid
Azumanga Daioh is
projectiles.
funny and silly. It's really
Alert.
funny to see
Direct
how
detected.
animators made use of the references from the other series within the opening. It was just really good trend. Another well-known Azumanga Daioh thing on NND was a little animation trend known as Catarina. The word Catarina that I'm probably butchering in itself is a Brazilian mixed alcoholic beverage. The song itself, the one played in the video, was released in 2005 by the artist Karina. The video itself is a leaked clip of the Azumanga Daioh character Tomo raising her finger and shaking her hip. It's a simple dance, very similar to
Override
Marathon
in 30
where
seconds.
the
Need to
various
recharge
artists
my
and
shields.
animators would go at animating different characters doing their trendy little dance. My personal favorite is this one of their references, and I just love the little animation references within it. It's very well done.
Activating
I know I
research.
have
Override in 10 seconds.
but we didn't really touch on the mad remixes themselves too much in there, if much at all.
Activating research
Really
saturation.
making
Security clearance
Let me tell you,
verified.
remixes
Cargo
are
access granted.
So, crash course on Chargeman Ken. It's a really bad, low-budget anime from the 70s. If you thought Speed Racer had some stiff animation, then you ain't seen nothing yet. How do I explain this? You know how people like to meme on the Zelda CGI cutscenes, and generally any other piece of animation that looks awful and just generally not good.
Thanks for taking my shit.
It's like that.
Recharging my
Basically
shield.
stuff people like
Yours.
to make YouTube poop.
Yep.
Sure, we're all in here fighting.
It's like that. In Japan, the series, despite being awful and not at all well remembered or popular in the 70s, has a cult following now due
Need to
to the
recharge my
memes
shields.
and only because of the memes. These memes were made possible through the utilization of the Kingdom box set of the series that was released in 2007, making it right on time and being free real estate to those on Nico. The most noteworthy of the early uploads being a video remix titled Charge Zone. This original upload is still up and going strong. It currently sits at over
I'll start
1.5
that
million
care
views
package.
on NND. From here, the remixes start coming and they don't stop coming. Though they did decline in popularity after a while. In 2013, following peak Chargeman Ken Chargin' Time, over 4,700 Chargeman Ken remixes existed on NND. And it being 10 years later now, in 2023, that number is probably significantly larger. This phenomenon resulted in Chargeman Ken receiving recognition for the first time in over 30 years. A Japanese show spotlighting internet trends, similar to American stuff like Attack of the Show, named The Next Star, even took notice and made an episode on Chargeman Ken in late 2008. Knack Production, the studio responsible for Chargeman Ken, especially took advantage of this internet trend, notably opening an official webpage in 2010 and releasing action figures, helmet replicas, soundtracks, and other general merch. The site itself is still up, by the way. The rabbit hole goes deep with this topic. I highly recommend researching it on your own if you want to learn more. And there you have it, guys. Here is Volume 1 of Nico Nico's most infamous or prominent, famous, whatever, topics, videos, etc. That is it for this video, though, guys. Hopefully you guys liked it. This is a new series. I keep starting new series, but you know, that's fine.
Setting a portal.
That's it. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.
Portal placed. Need to recharge my shields.
Henry Costanza, Echo Costa, Westra Atchewell,
Just us now.
Maniac Hannah, Chifolge, Daniel Teller, Lawrence, Noah Snow, Jeremiah DLR,
Recharging my shields.
Multi-Permanent, Adela, 322, 322,
In the water. Got no
Rings pretty
eyes.
close. Recharging my shields.
Jaded Health, Armando Duran, Dora Morazo, Ella S,
Nice high left right here. I'm waiting for him to peek.
Kong 02, EYL, LEL, E, Flo Amu, Hada, Ashley Rigby, me, Nicholas Papino, Mercedes Slaughter, Mercedes Slaughter, Eagles 22, Sid Nick,
Get back to the house. Get back to the house.
Recharging my shields.
Metal Mario 64, Courtney Von Schriltz,
We're close to the ring. 30 seconds left.
Alex Rose,
Enemy down.
Anna, Sophia Gillespie, Megan Nicole, Bonnie, Mike Master, Judy A. Gonzalez,
One more squad.
Oddish Momo Buns, Mr. Anderson,
Need to recharge my
Mr.
shields.
Osby,
10 seconds to the ring.
Angel
It's close at least.
Ilio, Brandon Tran, Andrew Valencia, Eels, Dude, Bro, Jolliser Place,
They gotta come down for me.
Meadow Peachy, Aurora Phoenix,
Heads up.
Lauren
The
Marcello,
ring's moving.
XX Lilycat XX, Million Caliber, Super Million, Gene 187, Digital Dove, Omar Rueda, Coffee Red Fox, Raz Cohen, Chicken Fire, Daniel Barrientos,
They spotted me.
Hand Fried,
I'm taking
Life
shots.
Jacket, Awareness, Nicholas Allen, Stantio Gutian, Adam Mitchell, Jolka, and
Okay.
Donna Pruitt, Leon X8, Tail Full Zigta, Christopher Valencia, Kalari, Erica, Justin Fuda, EP, Papas, Katag,
Long bus.
Push up on me.
That was my mom's car.
Need to recharge my shields.
Oh, okay.
Sting, Kevin, Jojo, Orlando the Dog, Soko, Jordan Kirk, Sheldon Knight. Thank you again, everyone. Eventually, this is going to take like
Care package
30
over there.
minutes to read, but you all are great. I love you all. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye.
That's funny.
See someone out there. Someone's out there. Taking fire.
Ah, he's so weak. Caustic down here. Fuck.
Wow.
You really thought
Yeah.
you belonged in here with profession.
Two-chan, more commonly known in its home country as Ni-chan, because that's the number 2 in Japanese, was basically the precursor to the better-known 4chan in the West. Ni-chan is like 4chan, only it's not. While the two are both anonymous boards and have their share of infamous images, creepypastas, and general insanity, 2chan had a very unique landscape that is a fascinating reflection of Japanese culture and the mindset of its citizens, of whom live in a society that greatly values conformity, civil duty, and reservation in demeanor. With that said, allow me to introduce you to a brand new series where we explore 2chan's most renowned and/or infamous topics in Japan. In this series, we're going to be looking at the creepy, the creative, and the bizarre. While 2chan in its original form no longer exists, and there's a lot of history there that maybe I'll get into in another video, there's a lot of posts that are infamous and well known today that really shaped Japanese meme culture in, Japan. 2chan was influential in preserving Japanese pop culture of its era, but today the opportunities in experiencing a little taste of Japan are even easier thanks to the use of VPNs. And with that, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Atlas VPN. Little known fact about me, I love Yakuza films. The works of Takeshi Kitano are a must, but one of my absolute favorites is 1986's Gokudo no Onotachi. Now, finding Showa-era Yakuza films is a bit difficult on American streaming services. But in Japan, on their versions of streaming sites like Netflix, well, that's another story. While Gokudo no Onotachi is obscure as heck overseas, it's a classic in Japan and easy to find and watch thanks to Atlas VPN. And for only $1.83 monthly too. Not only do I get Japanese media at my fingertips, but peace of mind knowing I'm secure with the protection Atlas VPN provides. Grab Atlas VPN for just $1.83 a month plus 3 months extra before this big deal expires. Link will be in the description and pinned comment.
Time to end this.
Starting off the video is a bit of slang commonly used in Japan. One the creator of the Yakuza series of video games actually got in quite a bit of trouble for using.
These boots were made for killing.
Let's back up a bit.
And that's
Cheese
just
gyudon,
what those
aka chigyu, is a type of beef bowl or
I'm
gyudon.
trying to hold his
A
blood
very
sugar
simple
making
yet
me
popular
hungry.
dish in Japan that is exactly as it sounds.
All this blood
Thinly
shit's making
sliced
me
beef
hungry.
over a bowl of rice, sometimes with raw egg packed over it or some veggies mixed in. So, like I said, chigyu is short for cheese gyudon. It's a standard beef bowl topped with cheese. Only the term chigyu itself has a lot more meaning than that in popular culture and is often associated with otaku or nerds. I guess it's kind of like how gamers, quote-unquote, are associated with Doritos and Mountain Dew. I mean, if somebody said they look like they eat Doritos and Mountain Dew, you'd probably get the point. And, that would probably be an insult. So, in Japan, if somebody says that a person looks like they eat chigyu, it means they look like a nerd. This is slang often seen on 2chan and is heavily associated with the simple image that was created in 2008.
banner.
It's a nerdy young
Wow.
lad ordering a 3-cheese beef bowl. Now, Toshihiro Nagoshi, he created one of my absolute favorite video game series in the whole widest world, that being Yakuza. Seriously, if you haven't played Yakuza 0, it's... During a live stream in July of 2020, one for a Puyo Puyo tournament, a clearly bored Nagoshi was asked his thoughts on the show and the entrance. After saying he didn't really know what to say and kind of fumbled with his words a bit, he said the entrants look like they eat chigyu. This perceived insult resulted in Sega apologizing publicly for the comment and some of the players in the Puyo tournament posting photos of themselves eating beef bowls. Those out there familiar with my Do Not Search Iceberg series of videos may already be familiar with Inuaki Tunnel, a very real location in Fukuoka Prefecture which was the setting of multiple murders. Inuaki Village is an urban legend that came about in the wake of the tragedies that took place in this tunnel. While the story of Inuaki Village itself dates back as far as the early 1990s, it really gained traction on 2chan when the story was passed around and users even claimed to have visited the location itself. While the story itself dates back to as far as the early 1990s, it really gained traction on 2chan when the story was passed around and users even claimed to have visited the village itself. Inuaki Village is said to exist on a small side road you see after going through Inuaki Tunnel. Which side? Who is to say? Perhaps the road appears before you upon walking through the Inuaki Tunnel completely, which may be difficult to do in the present day as it is now almost completely sealed shut. According to legend, the village itself does not recognize Japanese law or even the Japanese constitution itself. If one visits Inuaki village, you're essentially entering a lawless land without any sense of morality. There are many different versions of this actual narrative available online, the most famous version being a very early form of creepypasta, though at its core is referred to as a kowai hanashi, or scary story. This story goes as follows. In the early
Biggie Grandma
1970s, a
911.
couple was driving to Hisayama, a city also within Fukuoka Prefecture. During their trip, their car unexpectedly
Hello,
breaks
it's me.
down in a desolate area surrounded by
sneaking.
forests near the eastern base of Inuaki
Who's this?
Mountain. With no
Oh,
other choice, they
she's my
exited the
earshot
vehicle in search of help.
Oh.
Eventually, while following a small road, they
You
see a
restart-
sign
you
stating
restarting?
that the Japanese Constitution
I'll be back. I'm gonna
will not be
restart my
recognized
game real
beyond
quick.
that
Hold up.
point. The couple took
Don't
it as
leave,
some
Grandma.
kind of prank and nothing more. With that considered, they continued onward. Upon reaching a small
I'm
village,
talking
they
to
assume it
people
was
in my
abandoned
text,
some time
and
ago
they-
as no people were around. The couple was just
Wait,
about to
because
turn
my
around
name
and head
is
back down
Mickey
the path
Grandma.
they
They
went
call
down
me Grandma.
before being stopped by a crazed elderly
Hey,
man.
grandma. And not
He
someone.
welcomed the
Yeah.
couple to Inuaki village before
And she
pulling
said,
out a
I'm gonna
cigarette
restart my
and
game.
attacking
Don't leave,
them.
Grandma.
As far as the outside world, the world that knew this
No.
couple understood, the couple in question was simply never seen or heard from again. There is another, less popular variant of this story. One that claims that a call is made to a telephone booth near Inuaki Bridge one time every night. It is said that if somebody answers that nightly call to the phone booth, they will be transported to Inuaki Village and cursed. Upon arriving, they will slowly lose control of their mind and body from this curse. The legend of Inuaki Village is well known in Japan and left a lot of
Grandma, you gonna
online
carry us or
users
what?
searching for the village
Like
and
you've been
trying to
playing this
figure
fucking
out
game.
where it would be placed on a map. Weird thing is, a real-life
I'm not that
Inuaki
good.
village did actually exist in
You're
Japan.
not that good. Okay, I'm
This
looking at your
real-life
stats right
equivalent
now. Yes,
predated
you
the
are.
legend, the tunnel, and the murders that occurred in the tunnel. Having
And you play
existed from
fucking
1691
Wraith with a
to
bald head? Come on.
1889 in what is present-day
Come on now,
Miyawaka
Grandma.
City, after the
Huh?
village itself grew and merged with the
Come on.
surrounding
It's
areas.
like grandma.
They're saying, fuck if I'm gonna carry. 'Cause I'm good. They think I'm good.
This one
I
single
mean, you're
emoji,
like,
one that may look
you're
innocent
so
and
old in
cute
that
to
game,
all
so,
you
you
here
know,
watching this
you're
video,
already
is
grandma.
synonymous with one of the most
Yeah, they got the
notorious
worst
map in
Tuchan
China.
threads in the entirety of Tuchan's history. This thread, originally titled,
Barbara.
"Help! The girl I
Yeah, I
like
hate
won't
it.
respond to my emails," starts out simple enough. OP is asking for advice because he emailed the girl he's interested in and never received a response. Keep in mind that email can refer to text messaging, as it was referred to as meru in Japanese, similar to how meru is
Alright,
also
where's Lex at?
referred to as emailing. So emailing and texting is kind of
Curious,
synonymous
like-
going forward. I will mention that a few more times as the video goes on. Anyways, OP refers to this girl as Denko for privacy's sake. Because Tuchan is anonymous, most people just flat out say she's not interested or that OP is likely ugly, and that's why OP is not receiving a response from Denko. OP insists that there's more to it though, and that he's known this girl since high school. OP personally thinks that Denko and
What the hell
him
is she
feel the
restarting
same way
the whole
about each
fucking-
other, and
Yeah.
they've been talking pretty regularly in
We're starting the whole
college.
goddamn router right now.
But but then the dude, OP, just casually includes this response that's like, "Oh, I only sent her
Where are you from?
600 emails so far." This is when the people in the thread realize that OP is really obsessed
California?
with Denko. Everyone in the thread just
Oh,
kind of
Baja?
started ignoring
Yeah.
OP and at one point started talking about
Underneath.
ramen, something Tuchan is known to
California.
host discussions of, but in
Oh,
this case they were
underneath.
just
Let me
trying
look.
to not
Yeah.
respond to this unnaturally obsessed person.
Yeah, at the end. Like,
It does not end
we're
there though,
Mexico.
and Oh golly, I sure wish it did end there.
I see
OP then
Ensenada.
goes on to describe
yeah.
some
See.
pretty
But at
cringe
the
examples
very
of the
end, like,
conversations
at
he
the
had with
very end.
Denko
At
in
the
the past
very
before
end.
deciding, you know what, you guys are just
I don't
being
see.
mean to me, you're just not trying to help me. I'm going to call Denko directly now, before losing his nerve and then hanging up
Guerrero
before he
Negro?
talks to her. As the
I
thread
don't
continues, the
love
responses
I
just
don't-
start
I
messing with
don't
OP
see
and
blah.
trolling him and just making the whole situation a whole lot worse. Making suggestions
for
on what
Los
OP should
Devils.
do, and it just kind of becomes a
Don't
big old
know what
meme
that
on
is
the
either.
site. We do get a
Where?
little bit of
I'm just looking on
backstory
Snap
from
Maps,
OP
so-
about his time with
Oh, I
Denko
found-
in high school,
yeah.
as well as him saying he got a hold of her on the phone, and then he asked her on a
Think that's
date, and he was rejected. But OP sure did not see this as
Hello.
a
How are you about to
rejection,
play out-
and the
what's up?
situation continued
How are you
to
about to play on our
escalate.
servers?
It's often been speculated
Huh?
and debated upon regarding whether or not this story is actually real due to
Maybe
how
lagging.
ridiculous it
What do you
is
mean?
and how it kind of drags out.
You're,
And
you're way down
honestly,
there.
this thread is
Yeah,
kind
but
of
it's-
I found it.
terrifying for the sole purpose of it
But it's
potentially
the
being
same.
very,
It's
very
funny.
real. This is because
No,
it provides a
there's
clear
different-
look at
I
the
get like
mentality of
30
a
things.
stalker. So this
Okay.
thread goes on for a long time. So long, in fact, that I kind of felt myself losing my sanity after reading through the bulk of it. By the way, link to a translation
Lex,
of the
what
full
took you
thread
so
will be
long?
in the description. Eventually, OP lays it all on the line for Denko because he assumed she did not understand that he was interested in her. At some point during the 600 emails, and
What?
he
What-
says
what
he's
took you
interested
so
in
long?
Denko romantically directly.
Is it
and
because my
very
controller
clear
keeps
about that,
dying?
which
But I
then
can't find like
leads
the
to
charger.
Denko
I can't find my
directly rejecting him
charger.
again, saying, "Don't
Oh,
email
I thought you were
me
like restarting
anymore."
your whole router or something.
OP takes
Oh,
this
no.
as Denko
I
wanting
just turned
to
off the
instead
internet
talk to
and
her
just back
outside of
on.
email like in
So I
person.
think it's
As
okay.
time goes on, there's a few more other threads because OP keeps going on and on and on about how he doesn't understand why Denko is ignoring him, which eventually results in a quote-unquote friend of Denko, and I use the quotes
Everybody has a
pretty
normal
heavily
name, but
here,
mine was
selling
like 6.
Denko's information to OP
I
for
used to
about
be
the equivalent of
Kirby.
$550. This $550 fee
Now she has
included
sneaky
Denko's
grandma.
current email as she kept changing it over and over again. It's awful. This whole story
You better carry
is
it.
awful.
Cause I'm trash.
She will.
Following a really
Good, good.
disturbing in-person
She stays
encounter where
carrying
he
me.
hugs Denko from
No.
behind and
Go
she
off.
understandably
But it's not
screams and
fair.
tries to get away
'cause you're
from him.
constant.
She later rejects him one more time in person.
She plays
on
tries to
PC.
have him
And
promise
she plays on
that he
PC?
won't
No
try to
way.
contact
No
her or be
way.
around her in any
No
way,
way.
shape, or form. And now, time for the surprise plot twist ending. The whole Denko saga ends with OP
and so-
going
Fingers
out
don't
with the
cramp
friend
up?
who kept
Fuck all
selling
that.
Denko's information to her.
So
But
bad.
much like everything else in this thread involving this friend who is referred to as Akko charged OP to date her. And how much did she charge him? Apparently the equivalent of $8,000 and possibly more following this. Because you see, that is the last we ever heard from the Denko saga OP, and this was many, many years ago.
Okay. Don't spectate me if you die. I think I'm joking. Don't do it.
If you're an anime enthusiast
Well,
and existed on the internet during the mid to late 2000s,
I
you may have
admit,
seen this bear around during that time period. This bear is known in the West as Keto
Do
Bear.
these buses and
Now,
things
despite
so
its
loud, I hate it.
namesake and unsavory intentions in the
Thunderbolt.
West, which was popularized on 4chan, the Tuchan origin of this character is strangely more
Oh my
wholesome.
god.
It began as a single line
yeah.
called Woji, a little bear face with Kuma Kuma written in hiragana
Still
next
lagging?
to it. Kuma simply just
Yeah,
means
like
bear.
that.
I need it.
It
Oh my
eventually
god.
evolved into this much larger text-based line art of a bear running with the word Kuma written in katakana next to it. The purpose of this bear on
Rings not too
Tuchan
far.
is to be
45
posted
left.
in response to people fishing for attention on Tuchan threads. See, the joke is that the bear is eagerly running to take the bait and get the attention of the previous poster. That's really it. At least before the West got a hold of Kuma and made this image and, you know, made it very unwholesome. In 2016, a blogger wrote a post describing a video they recalled seeing on Tuchan at least 10 years prior in the early to mid 2000s. They explained that it was supposed to be a link claiming to lead to an adult video, but instead loaded a disturbing video that stuck with them all these years later. So, what was in the video? The blogger went on to describe it in their post. The quality was apparently horrible, and they described seeing disjointed cuts of a woman with a disfigured face. Then a shrine before cutting to a girl lying in a box with a person standing next to the box holding a knife. The video is then said to feature leaked footage of the girl falling out of the box before finally cutting to a short of the disfigured woman once again from before. The blogger claimed that they revisited 2chan's occult and horror forums asking if anybody knew about it, but nobody seemed to know what they were referring to, nor did they recall it. The blogger in this blog post also did provide a 2005 thread where they think this may have included the video, but the link in the thread is now dead.
What?
Many in this thread warn users not to click the link with the video unless they were ready because it was apparently pretty disturbing. Looking at this 2005 thread, whatever video was in this link received a lot of attention and upset during this time. Unidentified or lost media was a very common topic of discussion on 2chan. The notorious Hirogata PSA, as well as the Akihabara tape being two very early and famous examples of this. To this day, that notorious video has not surfaced.
So bad.
However, fellow YouTuber Tara A. Devlin has uncovered a video from about the same time with somewhat similar cursed imagery.
Better now. I don't know
Go
why.
ahead and check that video out for more info. I'll leave it linked in the description.
Everybody get off the way.
Additional supplies here.
Yet another bizarre thread that just kind of spiraled out of control. Unlike the Denko saga, where the issue is clearly defined almost to an infuriating degree, this one is kind of hard to pinpoint. And this time around in this thread, it's actually the confusion that leads to the frustration. I'll try and give you guys the abridged version. There's really a lot to unpack here, much like the Denko saga thread. A man, OP, had just proposed to his girlfriend and she said yes. The couple was a little tight on money at the time, so they had just decided to delay the actual wedding and go straight to registering the marriage legally. For the entire time the couple was together, OP had assumed his fiancé's legal name was this one specific name. He even recalled seeing this name on a class roster when the couple attended class together in college. While OP admitted that he often used a nickname when referring to his fiancée and even had the nickname saved in his phone, he was almost positive that her real name was something completely different to what it actually was when she signed the marriage papers. The name OP had assumed, one that he dubbed Hanako Sato within the thread, was instead a name that was in no way similar or easily confused with Hanako Sato, one he described as sounding somewhat obnoxious. He dubbed her actual name Elizabeth Ijuin in the thread. Keep in mind, these names are not the real names, they were just for privacy's sake and to make the situation a little more distinguishable. But despite this, OP swore that he saw the name Hanako Sato on that school roster all those years ago. He even recalled his fiancée recognizing that name on said roster as her own name. So, what on earth was going on? A very confused OP decided to bite the bullet and just ask his fiancée himself. This exchange had the fiancé very confused, basically saying, "What are you even talking about?" and just kind of dismissing it.
Heavy mag here.
And it's time for this already really confusing thread to get even more confusing. Like, who was Hanako Sato? As the thread title suggests, OP felt like his fiancée Hanako was suddenly replaced with this Elizabeth person. It was at this point that OP began having a bit of a crisis. He claimed that, looking at old photos, he didn't even recognize the face of his fiancée, that she suddenly looked like a different person. Like, literally.
Sounds like enemy activity that way.
That Hanako was in the old photos, and Elizabeth was suddenly here in real life, replacing Hanako. OP claimed that the girl in the old photos was Hanako, and that the girl in the recent phone photos he had was Elizabeth. But both girls had the same nickname he frequently used to refer them as. OP dubbed this nickname Chiwa. OP felt as though he merged with an alternate dimension where he was with an Elizabeth now, not Hanako anymore. The other posters in the thread asked various questions, like
Not
if
sure.
he had any memory
Think I hear an enemy
disorders
that
or if
way.
the nickname sounded like Elizabeth in any way. Some even asked if his fiancée was Korean or Chinese because there are cultures where some people
Alexis, how was your
genuinely
day?
have two separate names.
It was
Some
okay.
just joke
Yeah.
that the fiancé must have
I really
stopped
do
wearing
not
makeup at some
expect the
point,
other
but
students
OP
to know.
teachers
Yeah,
was
you
were
far
going
more
to.
drastic than that.
It
I
was so
swear I saw
The conversation
Stop
slowly
lying.
shifted.
You're pretty
I did.
funny.
Well, yeah, kind of waited. But like, waiting to leave them to come
It
over
seemed that
here.
a lot of people felt they should hone in on that specific aspect.
It was
and
hot.
OP continued to panic.
It's
Way
so
too hot.
The
freaking
whole
hot.
situation just
The
didn't
downtown
make any
is
sense.
dirty. It's
Some
really
people
warm
did
time.
hone in on their time in college. OP had mentioned that the
And then,
fiancé
like,
was in
Friday
a
and
Rakugo
Sunday
club,
and things.
Rakugo being the type of traditional Japanese storytelling. Some also recommended
Need to recharge
contacting
my
friends who knew both the fiancé and OP in college. And
Right,
so,
low.
upon asking a college friend, OP claimed he never heard the name Elizabeth Ichirin in his life.
You
that
closed the
the
door on
friend
me,
never
almost
heard
killed
it.
me.
And that
Recharging
the
my shields.
fiancé's name wasn't
Behind me.
Elizabeth to his recollection.
Oh, behind us.
OP continued to have an old photo of his fiancée to be sure he was right when his friend still Hanako was not Elizabeth. So that convoluted the situation a bit more. The confusing situation continued, with OP even considering to go to the hospital to be evaluated because people just kept suggesting that. This is something he did consider, but flip-flopped with actually doing it. Mentally
Watch
unstable,
yourself.
or
There's another squad
that
attacking.
that was the issue.
Enemy shield.
OP eventually updated the thread and recently met up with yet another college friend and got some drinks. He brought the old photos and his friend confirmed that these were in fact the photos of say. That the old Hanako photos were Elizabeth.
They spotted me. I'm taking shots. Reloading.
No way.
Get up.
Damn. They're all pretty low.
The friend was baffled that this was even a question that OP even asked, and also
45 seconds,
recommended
rings
that
close.
OP see a doctor.
Got down an enemy.
But then, OP came
ready.
home a little
I'm
drunk
hurt.
that same
Using a
night
Phoenix
and
kit.
told his fiancée about the friend. According to
No!
OP, the
I thought you were
fiancée
gonna-
apparently didn't remember this friend at all.
Less than
OP
30
also
seconds.
asked his
Rings nearby.
fiancée about the Chihuahua nickname and how
Damn,
that
you
came
killed
about and
me.
its origin, and her explanation was the same. The facts regarding the nickname still add up. However, despite all of this, OP confirmed that he was still very much in love with his fiancée and still intended to
recharge
marry
my
her
shields.
despite all this chaos. And now we come to the conclusion.
This dimension's looking up.
OP was later confronted by two friends who asked to see more photos, both old and new. These friends did confirm that the
Coming.
girls in the photos, old and new,
Heads up.
were the same
The ring's
girl.
moving.
That Hanako was Elizabeth. OP didn't believe them and didn't
Like
see the
everybody.
resemblance, but then the friends pointed out that the fiancée was wearing the same necklace in the photos. That the only thing that was
Recharging my
different was
shields.
her hairstyle as she had changed it. The friends then asked
1 second,
OP
we
if
got
he had
this.
ever heard of a condition called
package coming
prosopagnosia.
in.
For those out there wondering, this is a condition where those
Recharging my
afflicted
shields.
cannot recognize something by their face.
Move.
Following this post, OP
Just using
claimed
a
that his
Phoenix kit.
fiancée was confronted by OP and his friends that same day, and was now saying her name was Hanako Sato. There's a bit more of a back and forth, and OP claims Hanako Elizabeth doesn't recognize herself as Elizabeth. But it's here at the end of this thread where the story is far more disjointed and confusing. OP's posts definitely seem more
Oh, you
disjointed
almost
and
did. You
frantic.
almost had
Ultimately,
it.
OP thanks everyone for listening, doesn't
Oh.
really confirm what his plan of action is
And
now,
we're all
and
in there, yeah.
he just kind of dips. This is the last time we've heard from on Tucson. Never heard from again.
You're a fucking sweat. Look at her. Oh my god.
Have
I know,
many
that's
theories
what
about
I'm
this
saying.
thread, and once again, I'm really abridging the whole ordeal. It's very confusing if you read through
Need
the
to
whole
recharge
thing
my shields.
organically. It could
She's
have
locked
all
in
been
too.
fiction,
No
of
talking
course,
at all.
but if not, then open the disorder or emergency health situation that caused all this.
I need shields. Next ring's up very close.
On this door.
This is a meme originating from Tucson, the root of it being this face. You may have seen it before. And by looking at it, you may also have a good guess as to why this face has that expression. Even the Japanese phrase associated with it, yananaika, makes things pretty obvious if you know what that means. The phrasing itself translates to, do you want to do it? And by it doesn't mean anything safe for work, I assure you. The face itself blew up in popularity on Tucson as well as outside of Japan, though the origin of the image itself predates the internet a bit, as it comes from a 1987 one-shot yaoi from Barakomi, a magazine in Japan geared to
still carry those.
The title of the one-shot itself isn't even safe for work, actually. The title being Kuso Miso Technique. I'll let you Google any words that aren't understood here. I don't know if I can explain this on YouTube. It's kind of... Just Google it. The manga itself involves a college-age man who has a chance encounter with another man, seemingly a mechanic, at a park. They then go at it in a public bathroom. One of the panels from this specific scene is where the infamous face comes from. Now, this manga was relatively unknown up until 2002 when a Tucson user posted scans from the Barakomi issue to the boards. People soon became fascinated with the manga specifically, and the full one-shot was later uploaded in full due to this interest. The full upload did not take place until 2003 specifically, however. Following this, the Japanese internet had a field day with it, and by field day, I mean created a lot of memes. Eventually, Nico Nico Doga got a hold of it, and the memes continued to circulate throughout the mid to late 2000s. So much so that the face made its way to sites outside of Japan, and the manga itself was translated by users online. You can find that online, I assure you.
Is that infinity on your story just someone's post, or did you like...
What happened?
Is that infinity on your story? Is that someone else's post, or did you see that?
There is a vast variety when it comes to art style in anime.
The infinity
While
on your
it may not
Instagram
seem like it,
Did you see that, or is that someone else's post?
Someone else's post.
I was gonna say.
Some are breathtaking,
It's
realistic, and
clean.
gritty.
It is.
Others soft and
I want to
iconic,
see so
distinguishable and recognizable. Sometimes so unique and recognizable that you can name the creator just by looking at the characters they created. Despite the plethora of different art styles in anime and manga, the cutesy big eye style known as moe remains
You're gonna have
prevalent
to help me
even
look for
today.
some parts for my beamer.
Especially today. And especially within Japan, where anime that look like Idolmaster and K-On! Kind of dominate the scene. Cutesy, childish moe
Did you ask
girls
what
are
it was?
very popular, and it is
I
with
can't
this
hear
in
you.
mind that the
Game's too loud. Did you
homunculus
ask what it was,
disaster
or?
known as Moetron was given life.
Which one do you have?
Moetron, also known by the intended name,
I think it's the
Moetron, was
I-38.
conceived directly in response to a famous troll on Tucson known as Konashine in 2009 or 2010. During this time, the 2007 anime Lucky Star was still very popular, and many people often discuss this anime and share fan art of Konata, the main character. Konashine really hated Konata for some reason and would leave hateful comments on anything relating to Konata specifically. This caused artists to troll back by drawing various objects with Konata's attributes, specifically the blue cowlick of hair that she was known to have. This phenomenon continued until Himekona herself was born,
Alright, I just
her
took my
name
kill.
being an abbreviated form of Chimera Konata. This image
Oh shit, I'm fighting
both
the whole
creates
thing.
common
I'm out of there.
attraction, people starting to create their own fan art as well as devising a fan personality for Moetron. Or rather,
He's low.
personalities. As Moetron is
There's a team behind us too.
dissociative personality disorder and yandere tendencies. It's also worth noting that Moetron is a name that comes from 4chan,
Oh my God.
and Himekona
They
was
gangbanged my ass.
came about on Tucson and is her original name. This is another meme that all the early to late 2000s Japanese cartoon enthusiasts may be familiar with. It's definitely one I remember seeing a lot as a teen. To begin, School Days is an anime that aired from July to September of 2007. It's based on a visual novel of the same name and is known for its unsettling and unexpected endings to the story. The finale of the anime itself featured one of the game's more gruesome endings. Days prior to the scheduled air date of the School Days finale, an incident involving a young girl murdering her father with
mom
an
was
axe
here.
had occurred.
CCCCC
This
in my
very
room.
real situation was deemed far too similar to the contents of the School Days finale, and the finale itself was not aired on the date and time it was supposed to be aired on.
Thank you for
What
telling
was
me that.
shown instead?
I don't know.
Boat footage. A lot of boat footage. 30 minutes worth, in fact. Basically, a half hour of stock footage featuring boats with easy listening music playing over it. This ended up outraging fans that stayed up and tuned in to TV Kanagawa for this long-awaited finale. A lot of these outraged fans were actually outside of Japan and discussed their dismay on the English-speaking
Lex, you gonna be
4chan
up?
first. While much of the discussion consisted of humor outrage, it's this one single comment, accompanied by a screen cap of one of the boats, that is cited as the creation of this meme. One
Probably
screen
all
cap
night.
of what was
Can't sleep
recognized
either.
as a Norwegian ferry. The comment next to it simply reading, "Nice boat."
do, but I can't.
Beyond this, there wasn't much of a meme on 4chan itself. It wasn't until 2chan users caught wind of this thread, particularly the "nice boat"
No way, that's a
phrase,
bird.
where things really took off. People began making memes and edits of the specific boat image, with the main character of School Days exclaiming "nice boat." A lot
Here
of
we go.
fan art
Ready
came
up.
about too, and the creator of School Days themselves even named their Comiket booth "Nice Boat" one year. Comiket is a really big convention for doujinshi creators, by the
What'd you
way.
say? I can barely
A
hear you.
similar
when I
incident
played,
occurred
like,
in
video games
2020 as
and
well,
stuff,
when an
people
episode of a
were-
completely unrelated anime was cancelled and replaced with boat footage.
I have my game up way too fucking loud. I gotta turn that shit down.
I
Say
know,
that
I had
one
to
more
turn
time.
mine down.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
A 2chan user
like, clean
created
my
this
ears
thread
out.
upon receiving a series
I just
of
feel like when I
terrifying
play
letters in
games,
their
I'm, like, so
mailbox after
uncomfortable.
returning home from a business trip.
Uncomfortable?
None of
Yeah,
these
because I'm
letters were
feeling
addressed
right
to the original poster,
Oh.
instead being addressed to a man they did not
Yeah.
know by the name Asamu Sakuto-sama. The speaker of the letter uses the sama honorific at the end of this person's name. This is usually reserved for a person of very high status or even a god.
Alright,
Included in
Graham,
this
I'll tell your
initial
mom to get out of
post
your
was
room
an image of all
we
the
can fucking
letters
lock
they
you
had
in.
received by that point in time. 5 in total. Some of the letters were folded in strange
Oh, is that
ornamental
what you were
ways.
reading?
None of
Yeah.
these letters
Yeah,
had
she was
stamps
typing.
or the address written on them.
I was like,
They
what?
weren't even sealed in envelopes.
You just thought I was talking to myself?
Yeah. Or I thought you were,
The
like,
sender
reading
must have hand-delivered these letters themselves. What was deemed the first
now, like,
letter did tell the writer they
yeah,
would be
I
getting out of the
attention.
hospital. Despite this,
let's fight on the
both
scene
of
over
those
here.
letters made no sense and had no
Oh my
flow
god, I
or
have
clear
like no.
understanding.
Okay.
One portion of this letter stating that the speaker
9.
remembered exactly
Okay, I
when
hit
it
it
was
with-
a Sami person, and that her eyes
Throwing
turned
thermite grenade.
completely white in order to read Sami's mind. Also, that she constantly heard a song playing around her.
Need to
There's
recharge my
also a
shields.
bit that mentions
kill
her
leader.
quote-unquote
Watch for them.
though this is never clarified. It kind of seems like they're not her actual
Killed an enemy.
threats. Much like the campaigns in the other 4 letters, OP had shared
Oh,
photos
it's
of
purple.
every letter they
Oh,
received.
scary.
Each one being signed by a person who referred to themselves as While all of this in
9.
itself is
He's hitting him for
unsettling,
9.
what may be the
We made the
most
right choices.
unsettling element of this first letter is this.
Using a Phoenix kit.
Self-portrait that Veda included with that first letter. The second letter was even more confusing and disturbing. It included yet another self-portrait, this one of Veda unclothed with 4
You already
separate
have your
legs,
bolt?
and
Like
an
a few of
eye
you?
on her
No, not
abdomen
yet.
as well as her hair.
Energy ammo here.
Included were more disjointed phrases, and Veda claiming that she was overwhelmed by feelings of resentment because she felt somebody watching her every day and night, even while she was sleeping. Neda
you told
also
your dad yet?
complained that she was surrounded by
happened?
trash, quote unquote,
Have you told your
and that
dad yet?
Asamu soon would be surrounded by trash as
Um,
well.
Yeah, I did.
Most
He said
people
that he
in
was
this
What'd he say?
thread agreed that Veda
Oh.
was
Talk to me?
definitely unwell,
Or is that
and
No.
had some
No.
extreme obsession with this Asamu person. In
You're
the
all
later
scared.
letters, Asami was later
I'm
referred to
nervous.
as Asami.
Why?
It's unclear if this was a
Because
typo or
that's
not.
nerve-wracking. I don't
In
know.
these later letters, Vera goes
Well,
on to
yeah,
explain
imagine
that she
how
sees
I
a doll in her
feel.
room looking at her and moving.
I know.
And she also has an urge
Dang, you
to
started
eat
freaking
ink.
out right now. I'm
She
dead.
also
Yeah.
mentions having a husband
What'd he
and
say?
possibly having seen
No,
Asami
he said
the
he'll let me
previous
know.
December.
Okay.
It is unclear how long ago this December
I'm
was.
sorry, that was
Curious about
funny.
this Osamu person, other posters urged OP
He had
to
a really
speak to
cute
his
laugh.
landlord and see if they were the previous tenant.
What?
OP
Ew.
later claimed to have done so and that his
I need-
landlord had never heard that name before. However, the
Dude,
leasing
I
company
hate how I
was
get
able to
something
find
and then I freaking
complaints
drop
from the
it because I don't
previous
have the
tenant
gun. Then I get the
relating
gun
to
and I need
unpleasant
the
letters.
attachment.
And the
That's-
tenant
I
before
carry
that,
it.
they
The
had
whole game.
apparently complained that they
I
were
don't
being
even
care.
harassed by someone.
I always freaking
Then came more information. Contact info from the mother of the
Oh my
harasser
god.
of that
I
tenant.
lit her the fuck
Her
up.
daughter was apparently hospitalized following this harassment incident, with the mother apologizing on the daughter's behalf when it had
Yeah, I'm
occurred.
pushing that shit.
It was with this new information that the leasing office was able to get in contact with the mother once more.
Hostile landed
It
near
was
me.
here where it was confirmed that it was
Oh yeah,
Vera's
the whole
mother.
other team. To our right.
Apparently, after hearing this new information about the letters, Vera's mother
You're a bad guy. They're confident being
she
it.
first
Um,
contacted Vera directly
Alright, what do you
No,
want
what
to
do
do?
you-
Run? 'Cause
and Vera became the
that's
first
fucking best players in town.
denying everything. The mother then called Vera's fiancé. He did share that he recently bought Vera some new stationery that
One
matched what these
shot.
letters were being written
There's
on.
two of them there.
But he was working
Finish me, I
so
wanna watch.
often
Finish
that
me,
he
yes.
wasn't able to keep tabs on Vera and often left her home
There's two of them
alone.
right here.
The mother contacted the office once again, saying
Oh my
she would
God.
be driving to visit her daughter in
Oh,
person
no, run,
and
run, run.
address all of this. Meanwhile, those involved could
My game is lagging so bad. I
trying to
can't.
figure
can
out the
see.
situation, though some also felt that OP could be just making it all up. The mother updated the office once again. Apparently, Rera had left home and nobody knew where she went. This wasn't exactly a good sign for
I'm
OP,
fucking ass right now.
as Rera could be going back to his home. Turns out that's exactly what she did. A few hours later, OP updated the thread,
Dude, I feel so
hearing
bad my brother
aggressive
is on.
scratching and banging on his door.
Alright, girl, you gotta go.
He ignored it and called the police straight away.
Let me see.
Said
hold on.
police
How
showed
do
up
I
long
check?
after the scratching and
give me a
banging had
second.
stopped.
How old's your brother?
Following this, he met
He's
Vera's mother at the
16.
police station
Okay.
and both agreed to questioning regarding the situation. Vera's mother shared that Osamu Sakoto was the screen name of a person Vera had met on an online dating site many years ago. Following this questioning, OP checked the mail after returning home to find one more letter.
Grandma,
He
you don't give
provided
good
a photo of
notification.
it. It only had one single
what?
phrase written in the
I'm just
center of
playing.
the paper. Mata kurune, or I'll return. It was
What
in
does it
pink ink and signed by Rera. With that, Opie had dealt with enough and, like the previous tenant, decided to move. It was shortly following this decision that Opie said he was
Hello.
already looking at a new place and that his story and the letters were unfortunately
him.
very real. That he wished
Oh,
this
yeah,
whole
my bad.
ordeal wasn't real.
Would you want
And
to
with that,
play
we
tomorrow?
never saw a follow-up.
Mhm.
If this story was
But
real,
I-
Okay.
Opie
I don't know
likely
what time you
moved, and
get.
hopefully they'd receive further help.
Well, I'm usually on like the same time, like every day.
Around
Kisaragi Station
'Cause
may
I don't know
very
what
well
time
be
is
the
it for
most
you right now?
renowned topic that originated on 2chan.
right now.
While creepypasta
8:50.
enthusiasts may be very familiar with this story,
What's
the
that?
actual thread that inspired it
Okay,
is
yeah.
rather interesting
Oh, so
in
it's 8:50
itself.
for me too.
For the original
Um,
thread was not a completed
Well, yeah,
story.
we could.
It was
Well,
an
whenever you
actual
see me
back
on,
and
you could just
forth
join.
between a seemingly lost poster and concerned
Mm.
people engaging with her in
So-
the thread.
Are you gonna play
The
tomorrow?
original
Oh,
thread
yeah,
had
but-
surfaced in the year 2001,
we'll play
with the
tomorrow.
poster who referred to
Okay.
herself as
Okay.
Hasumi, who believed she was
Okay.
lost and got on the wrong train on her way home from work one evening. Hasumi was very confused about where she was. The train was not making any stops. It hadn't for quite some time, and all other passengers
Originally?
around her were asleep. On Hasumi's typical work commute, there were many stops and she was very familiar with its patterns. This time around, it was very different. People within the thread were intrigued, trying to get details about where she was so that they could pinpoint it and help her get home. This thread was created very early in the morning when only a few people were active on the site. One poster suggested going to the car that held the train conductor in it. She did so, but said there was a curtain covering that area and she couldn't see who was operating the train itself. Hasumi claimed she had knocked on the window in an attempt to speak to the conductor, but nobody responded. Another suggestion was to look out the window to see signs from any station they had passed. This was when Hasumi described going through a long She also later clarified that her usual route didn't have tunnels and that she departed from Shin Hanamatsu Station, which is a rail station in Shizuoka Prefecture. Before long, Hasumi updated the thread yet again and said the train had finally made a stop. She looked outside the train to see a sign that said Kisaragi Station. Nobody in the thread had ever heard of the station before. Those who Googled it said nothing came up. They urged Hasumi to stay on the train until reaching a final stop on that line. There would likely be taxis available at the final stop for her to get home. Hasumi instead got back on the train to look for more information. During this brief period, the train she was the only passenger to get off. Hasumi then added that she contacted her parents to pick her up. They were also unsure where Kisaragi Station was. She had also added that one of the kanji used in spelling Kisaragi Station was also the kanji for devil. It appeared as though the station name read Devil Station if it was read in Hasumi left the station and saw no roads or traces of civilization.
Es que si lo ves ready,
Decided to
pues
walk along the track.
mencionan lo que
This
es
was
porque
when she heard the sound of taiko drums in the distance as she walked. Shortly following this was someone shouting at her to get away from the tracks. She turned around and saw an old man behind her with only one leg. This man quickly disappeared. The sound of drums grew louder as Hasumi came across another tunnel and went through it. She then met a man at the other side who offered to drive her to a hotel and then claimed they were near a town called Hina. With this, Hasumi claimed the man was muttering to himself in the car. She felt uncomfortable, and her phone battery was running out. Hasumi concluded that this would be her last post, and it was.
Me cagan.
Now, while
Me guachaste
Kisaragi
TikTok.
Station is pretty chilling as a scary story,
es que
many feel
borré
the story
TikTok,
may
güey.
have had
Ahorita lo veo.
truth to it,
Ah,
and that
bueno.
Hasumi crossed over
No,
to
pero
another
igual mándamelo.
dimension or even the afterlife. People have tried figuring out where Kisaragi Station would be on a map as well, and it was this story's creepypasta status in the West that makes it so well known today. Much like Moitron, this is another genre of cute anime girl fan art that came about on 2chan. Only the gimmick with these girls is that each one represents a different computer operating system, hence the OS in OS-tan. The tan is like a shortened, cutesy, childish version of Chan. This phenomenon dates to as far back as the year 2000 and the launch of the Windows Me, which was a really buggy and unreliable operating system that came out in the time between the Windows 98 and Windows XP. 2chan users began joking that this operating system reminded them of a clumsy and forgetful anime girl. Someone who's kind of well-meaning but also very ditzy. Because of that, they started drawing Windows Me as a gijinka. This term is for art that humanizes non-humanoid things and is very commonly used in fan art. Mitan, the very first OS-tan, was officially created in 2003 when the first fan art of her publicly surfaced on 2chan. While the popularity of these characters skyrocketed in the early to mid-2000s, interest waned in the years following. Despite this, OS-tan equivalents have been made for every Windows operating system to date. There's even a supporting cast of OS-tans made for web browsers, antiviruses, and other devices like the Amazon Kindle.
Tengo la memoria muscular, pero
Sí, yo también.
O sea, lo que hago no
And
lo
this concludes
pienso,
my
güey.
first episode looking into the weird,
Pero qué
mysterious,
verga,
and
cómo lo
creepy things
maté,
that
güey.
came about on THUGSHAKER. This is the first of
Güey,
many. I have many
estoy
topics I
igual,
want to talk
güey.
about.
O sea,
And if you
no me
have any
acordaba
you'd like
cómo
to suggest,
giliarme,
please feel free to
pero
hit me
cuando
up
me gilié lo hice
in
en
my business
automático,
email,
güey.
social
Yo,
media,
¿qué,
or even
güey?
just the comment section down below.
Güey, por.
With that, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see
Lo
you
que
in the
hace
next video.
700 horas de
Bye for
Apex.
now.
Sí,
And
güey,
last
vete a
but
la
certainly not least, I would like to give a huge shout out to
Oh my
all
God, no
my
sé qué
beloved
escoger, güey, no sé qué
Patreons.
está
Thank you
haciendo, a la
so
verga,
much,
ayúdame,
guys.
por favor.
This includes Chumpkins, Jaded Elf, Jolie
Está
Medea,
doradón ese, güey.
Armando Duran, Rora Morasso, Ella S, Lena SD98,
Man.
Gur Elad, Eli L, Nikki,
Si ves algo live,
Flo
dices.
Ami, Pada,
Eh,
Ashley
¿Y eso
Rigby,
normal?
Meek,
Sí.
Nicholas
Que no
Babino,
tengo like.
Mercedes
Oh,
Slaughter,
let's
Beebles
go,
32, Sidney,
Oye,
Eli Roca, Life on
Oh.
Mars, Greedy Guts 78, Lilia Grosso, Metal Mario
A la
64,
mierda, güey.
Courtney Von
Y
Schriltz,
ese, güey.
Misael,
Sí, no, pobrecito, güey.
Dr. Money $$
Oh,
69,
bro, you good?
Nicole Turkowski, Alice
sí,
Rose, Akali, Anna, Sophia
Quiero por
Gillespie,
Por
Megan
derecha,
Nicole,
contigo. Yeah.
Vonnie,
Te quiero,
Oh.
chao.
Master, Judy 18, Felix Gonzalez, Alan Achondo,
Oh my god,
Manish
todos
Guru,
jodidos, güey.
Momo Buns, Mr. Anderson, Michiru OG, Otonia, Angel Pena, Lilo,
Fuck.
Brandon Tran, Andrew Valencia,
La grana, ahí
Eels,
estaré en
Dude Bro,
Delicious.
Jolliser Plays, Beastmen Manor, Mirotichi, Aurora Phoenix,
Puta madre, güey.
Lauren
todas las
Marcello,
balas,
Lilycat, Merlin Caliber,
Oh my
Ethan
God!
Norman, John
morimos.
_187,
No,
Digital
güey.
Dubs, Omar Ruelas,
No tenía,
Coffee
no tenía
Red Fox,
digo, no tenía.
Raz
Tenía
Cohen,
ganas.
Shivam Vashi, Daniel Barrientos,
Vamos, vamos,
Pride Life
vamos.
Jacket Awareness,
Tararara.
Nicholas Allen,
Tararara.
Satagio VTM, Adam Mitchell, Joka, Anaja J. Reese, Donut Brewitt, Leon X8, Teofil Zieta,
My
Christopher
pewter.
Valencia,
I'm on the
Amari,
pewter.
Erica, Justin Fuda, PP Passes
Antique is
Tag,
eating oats.
Quetzalcoatl FC, Andrew LaPena, VHS Vitch, Earfire, Grand Tactician, Good with a Stain, Kevin, Jojo, Orlong the Dog, Soko, Jody Kirk, and Bishonen Knife. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate every single one of you, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye for now. If you're familiar with City Pop, you may be already familiar with the name Nakahara Meko. If not, allow me to briefly explain what City Pop is. In the 1980s, Japan was in what's called a bubble economy. Long story short, it meant they had a lot of money. With this era came a lot of creations, one of these being new modernized synth-pop music. Ironically, back then, Japanese people called it new music. It's still called
Yo no
new
quiero
music
ser el
today,
maestro de
not
la
city pop.
brincación.
That's actually a name given to it in the West.
Yo no voy a tirar.
Well, a lot of that 80s Japanese money went to promoting Showa idols, a thing that was also quite huge back then. New music was classified as more of the chill yuppie jams for young adults to listen to while they drove on the
Oh my God,
freeway or
tírate,
went on
güey.
a classy dinner cruise. The latter was also very popular in 80s Japan. City pop is not solely a creation of the 80s, however. To quote Google, city pop is a loose category of Japanese pop music that emerged in the late 70s and peaked in the 80s. In Japan, the term simply referred to music that projected
Ah, mira,
an
se tiró
appeal
solo.
and whose target demographic was urbanites. So, where does Nakahara Meko fit into all this?
¡Le
Well,
vas,
he
güey!
created a lot of
Suerte.
banger tracks during this time period and even supplied other equally banger anime openings. Any fan of
Mierda.
Dirty Pair or Kimagure Orange
Güey,
Road
¿por qué
does
no me
not need to be
avisaste,
told that.
güey?
Nakahara is a
Córrete.
staple of the definitive city pop
Córrele.
catalog
¿Cómo?
today
¿Que me
and
cómo?
was very popular back in that day
O sea, sí
as
jalo, la
well.
verdad.
Nakahara's established presence would change
Pues por deja de
drastically
acosarme.
in 1992, however,
¿Qué?
when
Yo
he
no
would
te
never be
dije
seen
nada.
publicly again.
Güey,
Nakahara
Girls are just
Meko has
calling.
not been seen in
¿Cómo se
30
hacía el wall
years.
jump?
You heard that correctly. The year 2022 marks 3 full decades since her disappearance. And so, without further
¿Cómo
ado,
se-
let's
cómo
look
se
into the
volteaba la cámara?
disappearance of Nakahara
Go
Meko.
harder, my dick. Digo,
What?
Oh my god, yeah, daddy. Oh my
Let's
god, like
start at the
sucking my
beginning.
dog, like with your ass
Nakahara
with
was
my
actually
cock.
born
Huh?
Ohara Akiko
Uh-huh.
on May 8th of 1959.
¿Sí, no? O sea,
She
¿sí va la
was
rola?
born in
La,
Yotsukaido City, located within
Wow.
Chiba Prefecture. Her
Sí,
family
amigo, ya tienes
supposedly ran
arma.
a fuel shop.
Ya tienes
Nakahara had
armón,
a
man.
passion for songwriting since she
tengo
was a
cum.
child
Digo,
and began
¿ah?
working on original music compositions in junior high
Wow, tiro
school.
sin daño, güey.
It was at the age of 15
¿A
that
quién?
Nakahara entered to perform on a music
Ni hay
competition
gente
show.
aquí.
This was Kimi Koso Sutada,
¡Oh!
which
Oh.
translates to You
Oh.
Are the Star.
Bueno, no.
This show
Yo
ran
no quiero
from
jugar con Eva, quiero
1973
jugar
to
con la
1980 and
Wing.
is very similar to the more well-known star Tango.
Con la Wing Wing.
Nakahara unfortunately
Wing.
did not receive enough points to pursue
Wing Wing.
and win the competition.
Tipo, casi, ¿cómo te ha ido en tu vida?
against her pursuing a career in music and preferred that she
Pórtalo.
attend college
Oh!
instead. This did not deter Nakahara, and honestly, good for her for not
Okay.
giving up. That's incredibly
No,
admirable.
pues.
And she later went on to study music at a school ran by
Pues,
singer
normal,
Kunihiko
aquí.
Suzuki.
Haciendo
Because
morning.
Nakahara already had some experience in songwriting,
¿Eh?
she chose to focus on studies geared towards
Disfrutando el
becoming a
barrio, pues,
vocalist to
de
broaden her
YouTube.
skill set more so. At
Oh.
the age of 17,
Ah, de Twitch.
Nakahara began finding
Oye, vi
work
tu
as a
directo y
backup
me
vocalist.
violó la mente.
She saw success working on TV
¿Ah?
stations, but among her biggest
Vi
breaks
tu directo y
me dio algo en cuanto abrió la página,
¿Por
güey.
a
qué?
70s teen idol
Me
turned
dio un
prominent
aneurisma.
musician who has an extensive and
Demasiado
well-known
¿Por qué?
discography in Japan. As Nakahara
¿Por
became
qué?
older, her voice
Sí,
also
¿qué
began to
tiene?
achieve a more mature and husky
Pues
No,
demasiado
sound.
no
de
tiene nada de
This
malo, ¿no?
shift led Nakahara to begin performing as a solo
Está
vocalist.
Pero
bonito.
qué cagado.
It was in
Oh,
the
qué
early
verga.
80s at the Shinjuku Ruido K4, a well-known live house in Kabukicho ward of Tokyo, where representatives of Toshiba discovered her. Rewinding a little bit though, the Shinjuku Ruido is a very well-known live house and a
Ah, es
very
un
cool
pinche
spot.
robotcito.
The late
Paspis.
Yutaka Ozaki, a very
Gay.
well-known Japanese musician,
Robotito
actually
gay,
debuted
robotito
there
gay,
in
robotito
1984.
gay.
My God.
O sea,
To
lo
my
obtain.
knowledge, it still exists, and there's a few other locations
ajá.
throughout Tokyo.
Va a tardar un
Back
chingo
to
esta partida,
1982,
casi. No hay nadie.
Toshiba
Oh,
Iwai
yo.
took her
Güey.
under their wing and dubbed her the second Yumin.
Robotito
Yumin
gay,
being the
estamos
name of Matsuko
robotito gay.
Absolutamente
O sea,
al
lo
otro lado
obtain.
del círculo. Y es el primero.
La, la, la. Sexo, sexo. Oh.
It
La,
was after
la, la, la,
Nakahara's
la,
discovery that
la.
her
Por
very
si
La,
quieres
la,
echarte
la.
una.
in 1982.
Susana.
This
No.
was when she was 22 years
Aquí
old.
estoy
The
viendo
single was
5 videos
called
al mismo
Konya
tiempo.
Dake Dance
Lo
Dance
tengo.
Dance.
Oh,
The
super
same year,
gliding
her
for
first
the
album
win for
was
my
also
fucking
released.
super
It was
gliding.
titled
Still
Coconut
have
Hearts.
it. Like, oh
In
my god,
1982
hashtag Apex
specifically
Legends,
was a
hashtag I
very
still
big year
have
for Japanese
the
pop
clutch,
music,
hashtag
as
I
the
still
shift from
dripping,
more
hashtag
traditional
super
sounds to
gliding,
something more modern
hashtag
became more
super
apparent
gliding,
and mainstream.
hashtag super
What
gliding,
other
tap striking,
artists debuted in
hashtagging,
1982?
hashtagging
Well, to
Apex
name a few, there's
hashtag.
Matsumoto Io, Nakamori Akira,
Pompi.
Torichiemi, and Hayami Yu.
¿Qué,
These
güey?
were
Dije
huge
que iba a
names at the
postear
time,
como nunca, la
particularly
verga.
Akira, who dominated the Oricon charts throughout the 1980s. Matsuda Seiko did too, of course, but she debuted back in 1980.
Hashtagging,
From here,
habling,
Nakahara continued
gonganging.
to see success and growth as an artist. Her main demographic was meant to be girls in their late teens to early
La,
20s.
la,
A demographic that
la.
even next
Una-
door
women.
idols of the time didn't entirely appeal to.
Ya
This
tengo
appeal was
Winning.
seen by Kanebo, a Japanese cosmetics
Muchas
company who took advantage of Nakahara's mature image.
Me
This
asustaste.
cosmetics ad featured
Ganging,
her song
gonging.
Hitachi, Kiwi,
Perdón, Ginko.
Papaya, Mango Dane.
¡Oh!
Fun to say.
¡Hombre!
And this
Hello,
is the song that
Dan
people
Dan.
best remember.
Todavía mante el jumping.
Oh
Cuidado.
The
my,
distinct
my.
Latin influence,
Oigan,
as
tengo
well as
que
the brass
piping,
used
My
were
pero
stream.
haciendo
stand out
apping.
quite a bit
Digo,
among the other
¿eh?
songs at the time.
Tengo que
At
piping,
the
pero
time,
Güey,
this
ya.
cemented
¿A
her as a
qué?
musical artist and made her a household
¿Qué,
name.
güey?
And let's not forget
Hola?
her talent as a
Oiga, ¿qué
songwriter.
te quiero?
Nakahara has written
Hola,
most
no es cierto, güey. Pinche
and
Lucy.
even wrote
Hola.
music for Hayami Yu.
Me escuché un paso y
This
era el
newfound
amigo. y
fame
estaba
made
muy-
Nakahara very busy. Her schedule
Hola.
was often
Hola.
packed with new projects
Hola.
and she barely had
Hola.
any free time for
Ami,
herself.
gongang, gones.
In 1985,
Hola.
1 year
Hola.
after the musical promotion, Nakahara
Hola.
performed the song Roro
Hola, amigos
Dachi
gangones, me llamo
This
Federico
song was
Álvarez
used as the opening
Quiñones.
to the 1985 anime Dirty Pair. And let me
Javier.
tell you, this one is a certified
Me llamo
good
Federico
classic, my
Álvarez
friends.
Quiñones
It
y vengo en
slaps
son
pretty
que pasa
dang
desde
hard,
los
and
siglos
it's
mi
probably
pene.
my favorite song by her, despite the fact that I can barely say it because
No,
all
actually,
words
no.
I hate them.
O sea,
The song is the opening to the original 1985
¿Lo ibas a mear?
Parry anime, not the
No,
one
güey,
after.
soy Apexing,
She
no puedo
also
miar
sang
en...
Space
Porque soy
Dance,
Apexing.
the ending song for Dirty Pair.
Soy Apexing, no puedo
It's
miar
about
en...
two girls
Los
who
miadings
fight
son
time and
menos
space, and
importantes que
also
los
has
Apexings.
roots in
Y el
Japanese
Apexing es
female
más importante
wrestling,
que el
as
miading.
it's what inspired the creator of Dirty
La,
Pair to
la,
create Dirty Pair. Completely
Oh my God,
unrelated,
super
but a
driving.
weird fact
No, no
I
sé.
wanted to share. It was also in
Oh,
1985 that
amigo.
Nakahara released
Amigo,
Network
tiene gente.
TV, a
Amigo,
laserdisc
amigo,
featuring
muere.
45 minutes of
Amigo,
various
muere.
music
Güey,
videos.
amigo, estaba media bala.
Next came two songs for the
Oh my
anime
God,
True River and Road.
También.
It's about a family of psychics, but focuses more on romantic love triangle teenager
What?
shenanigans. That being said, it's pretty good. The two songs are Kagami no Naka
Oh, le di a uno,
and
le di a
Dance in
dos.
the Memories. They were
Vaya,
featured
está
as
morado
the
ese
opening
güey.
and ending theme songs for episodes
Chicos, ¿qué
37
opinaron de
through
mi Twitch
48.
title?
Dance in the Memories was also used
No lo
in
leí.
2 episodes of the OVA. These mentioned
Acá a la derecha, a la derecha, a la derecha,
songs
a la derecha.
aren't the only ones
Ay,
Nakahara
Merlin.
created. Nakahara lended her voice
Le
to both
está
dramas
Flash.
and commercial campaigns
Sí.
as well.
Oh, puta
This
madre.
was the highest point in Nakahara's career. Between 1982 and 1988, she
Está
created
Flash, está Flash, está
32
Flash, la Flash, está
singles,
Flash.
8 albums that
Todo
led
está
to
Flash.
Diamond
Bueno,
Street
uno está
Gold
casi
and
Flash.
even a Damn record, which is a special
Top.
recording intended for use in a karaoke.
Ah, es otro equipo.
It's
Güey, no veo nada.
speculated that at this point, Nakahara's busy schedule began to take a toll on her. The years 1984
Ni
through
pedón.
1988 were
Ni pedón
incredibly
cangón.
successful for her,
Ni
and
pedón
she created a
cangón.
lot of great music during this time period. It was in 1988, however, that she
Mocos.
would make
Oh,
a big
sigue,
decision that would
sigue.
drastically steer the direction of her life and career.
¿Huh?
Kagami no Naka no Actress was Nakahara's final album
Güey, ¿por
before
qué
a short
dijiste eso,
hiatus.
güey?
It was released on March 5th of 1988.
It was her.
Se
Among
escuchó
the
bien
very
cagado
few
porque digo,
details surrounding
¡Mac!
Nakahara's personal life include her move to New York. The move is speculated to have occurred in 1988. This is
Póngale
according to
puto
this
rey.
Japanese
Ay,
article on
Yeah.
Internet.
Mocos.
Some articles list the year as 1990, but 1988 makes more sense
Güey,
considering
es que
her
ya voy a
biography,
decir.
and this is
Voy a
being
dejar de decir
great.
palabrotas.
Nakahara had
Ah, sí.
visited America prior to 1988. This is seen in a picture taken in Chicago in 1984.
Vas a
But
dejar de
yeah,
decir
it's probably
palabrotas.
1988 when Nakahara moved to New York. It
Ujú.
is uncertain for how long
Pues ya
she
estuvo.
stayed there, though her
No
1980
les puedo
album,
decir
Three
esas
of
cosas a los
366
pacientes, ya
features
para acostumbrarme.
photographs taken in New
Okay.
York. 1990 is the year Nakahara actually
Yeah.
returned from that first hiatus.
No decir ni una palabrota en
This
esta
being
partida.
considered, she could have been living in New York as she
Uno
was
se tiene que acostumbrar. Mira, ya me acostumbré.
That Japanese article also claims Nakahara is back in Japan now, but
Mi cerebro
this
no
may
funciona allá en
not
Apex.
She may still be based
Es que
in
ya
New York,
no
and go back
sirve.
and forth, but this information is completely
Todo lo que hago
unknown.
es automático.
Between the years
Yo también.
1990 and 1992, Nakahara Meiko released a decent amount of new
Oh.
music. It's the
Nuestras
303
pelotas.
Street album, and her
O sea,
1989
literalmente lo que hago en
album,
Apex ahora
Legends
son
of
pensamientos que ya están desarrollados
Also
por las
released one
infinitas
more
horas que
music
tengo
video
jugando y
for
se
the song
las hago en
Blue
automático.
Diamond.
O sea, ni siquiera pienso
This song
lo
was
que voy a hacer,
used as the
simplemente lo
1988
hago.
Mira, Wellsage.
theme to a travel show that
¡Mundo al borde!
Asahi at the time.
Soy la
When
líder de
Nakahara was
salto.
32 years old, she would begin what would be her final tour.
Vamos,
Tírate
compañeros.
abuela quisquillosa 911.
Quisquillos.
¿Cómo se traduce Sneaky? Ya se olvidó.
Como sigilos, no sé.
Sí.
Como sigilosa.
Quisquillosa.
They just recorded music from that location.
Y no
and brought it.
trabajen.
Still a cool spot nonetheless, though.
Yo estaba aquí.
Now, to my knowledge from my
Wingman
own
here.
personal research, I don't believe this was labeled as a farewell show or maybe a marketing
Oh my god, ya no tengo aim.
industry. Though basically, once the show ended,
Oh, me disparan de atrás. Oh,
No, pero ese güey.
¿Qué?
¿Cómo? ¿Qué?
¡una bala! Tiré a dos. ¡De morirte! Ahí. Ah, no puedo marcar en el... Muy buena.
Some of
Aquí
these come from
todos
recent
están ahí.
sources. Others are comments I've seen here and there around the internet that
caigo.
may not hold
No,
very
te
much
caigo.
weight. Regardless, I'll
Recharging
present
my
my
shields.
findings here and now.
Estoy safe.
Though, let's actually just pause for just a minute. Before I get into this, Nakahara Meiko's privacy is something that should be respected. I did not attempt to get
está menos
information
safe.
from anyone who may
New
know
kill
her
leader.
through
Watch for
messages, like
Less than 30
relatives or
seconds.
friends and
This won't hurt. Hold on.
previous
Atenta con la
coworkers
nueva parca,
or and I simply made use of information that has already
Atenta
been
con
made
la nueva parca.
I think this is something that should already be
Sí,
heard by
puede matar.
everyone watching.
No.
Please do not contact
¿Cuál
people you
parca?
believe she is associated with personally looking for more
Sexy líder.
information.
Ay,
Anyways,
Oh,
qué verga.
so where is she now?
La, la,
Well,
la.
Oiga, ah, ¿por qué? Déjame en paz, por favor.
I mean, she did write much of her own music.
Déjame ser
Various
Bucky
sources
Queen.
have listed two specific
yo
artists that
también lo
Nakahara
necesito.
wrote music for.
Bueno, vienen.
These two artists being Vivian Sue
Tengo que
and the
miar.
pop group Technical.
Ya te quedo arriba.
Ya
Sue
sé.
has been active since
Se me olvida
1990
ir al
and
ping
remains
antes del
active
Apex Sync.
today.
Otra vez Sync.
Nakahara wrote the song
Pongan Ging.
Hatsugatsu no Rai.
Pero ya estoy cayendo en el coming.
Chicky Cole was only active for a short time.
De algo que tenga sentido. ¡Vienen!
¿Quién viene? ¡Oh my god, ya vi!
Urgente.
Chicky Cole has returned for
¡Oh my god!
What the?
Nakahara has
What
written
the?
music for a number of artists over the years. I have heard that she has
Wow.
written music under aliases.
Oiga,
I
¡oh!
have heard that she's written music for films as well, though I cannot confirm.
Oiga, de frente a ti, Javier.
But anyways, web
Ups,
pages
me
I
salí
have
porque
stumbled
creí que ya
upon
nos
say
habían
she
matado
stopped
todos.
writing music for Vivian Sue in the early
No,
2000s. I'm not sure if this suggests that she stopped writing
No, ya
music
tenía
entirely
balas.
for people
Lo que es escudo, sí,
or
escudo.
not. There is also a
Pues
cover
bueno,
band that
casi
is
ya salió.
dedicated to Nakahara's works. The most notable one is
Sí,
Lodos,
ya se
which
habían
is
matado.
named after one of
Confiamos hoy a la
Nakahara's
vez.
albums. Among the members of Lodos is a
Ok, vamos a
musician
pushar
who goes
casi
by the
muerto.
name Megu. This member runs a
Agarraste
personal
la
blog
wingman.
online, and it's within this blog that some of the most substantial information in recent years is provided. While the
Tiene que
band
agarrar- ¡Ay,
Lodos
vienen!
does have its
Oiga.
own personal
¡Ah!
social media and blog dedicated to the band
Oiga.
content itself, the blog in
Ya fui, ya
particular,
fui.
which has all the good stuff, is a line
escuché,
blog
güey.
ran by Megu.
Oh.
It's her personal blog and has quite a few posts relating to Nakahara Meiko. Megu appears to be actively involved in looking for updates when it comes to how Nakahara is doing.
What? ¿Cómo
currently
llegó
and
tan
reports
rápido?
new
Ah.
discoveries. I've also read on a Kaio Kyoku blog.
Amigo,
that
no.
she's been
Ah, no
actively
tengo balas,
seeking
güey.
Nakahara
Ah,
in the late
lo iba a
2000s.
violar.
One post in
What?
details how she recently came in
Ni dos
contact with one of
headshots.
Nakahara's
Ya
relatives
no
What?
tenía
who came
balas.
out to see one of Lotus' shows. According
Bye.
to the Nakahara is alive and well, and currently residing
Okay.
in Tokyo. Beyond this, not a whole
Bye,
lot was
Mom.
shared by the relative, it seems.
No,
This
no,
was
no.
likely an effort to respect Nakahara's privacy, which is completely understandable.
Ya me soy nivel 1.
Though beyond
sé.
this, there have been
A
other
ver, cámara,
updates.
cámara.
Upon researching, I was
gosh.
able to come into contact with people who run
I know.
blogs and
Yeah.
engage in Facebook groups that update fans on Nakahara's
Nicón.
whereabouts. It's within
Voy a
a
hacer
Facebook group that I was able
Nicón.
to come across yet
Voy a
another
hacer
update.
Beacon.
A very recent update from 2021.
Ah, Beacon, así como el de
See,
Minecraft.
we've considered
No,
the
Beacon.
possibility of
Bitcoin?
Nakahara being in New York.
Ah,
We've seen
Bitcoin,
comments
como
stating she's back in Tokyo.
los scammers.
But what if these are
Mhm.
both incorrect? What if
Hashtag.
¿Tienes
Nakahara
Bitcoin?
is in neither of those places? What if Nakahara Meiko has
Dice
moved
como
back to Chiba
400
Prefecture? See, this user apparently
dólares.
sent a private message to Lodos last year. In this message, a member
¿Has
of
visto
Lodos,
o qué?
I believe
¿O
Megu,
quién
es?
says that Nakahara is living
¿Por
happily
qué?
in
Cuando
Chiba
estaba
and
lo
that
de
they are not
cripto, o
currently
sea, de
involved
que
in
es
music in
sensual.
any
Ah, cuando
way.
apenas se inició.
The response
Dice
also
que-
says to kind of take this with a grain of salt, as this information was obtained
Nice.
from person to person,
Pero ya
and
te los
is simply
gastaste.
what they've
Ajá,
been told.
en la PC de
It
hecho.
has not been confirmed by Nakahara herself. I've noticed some fans garnering somewhat of a romantic image of this possible outcome. Maybe Nakahara took over her
Are you ready?
family's fuel shop and she's living a happy and peaceful life
Es
back
que
in
el
her
jabón
hometown.
no.
Really though, none of these have been proven to be true
Pues
news
estoy
yet.
en un
visto?
video de
And
jabón.
I don't see any reason for any of these
Es que estoy
statements
en
to
un video
be
de
false.
jabón.
These blogs and
Ajá.
community interactions
Sí, es
provide
que,
the most substantial
estoy ahí en tu
recent
ventana.
information available. If any of
What?
this proves to be true, then I feel
Huh?
that it's the news a lot of fans wanted to hear. After
amor.
all, none of it is bad news. In conclusion,
jabón.
I think,
Oye,
while
jabón.
not something I can
Oye,
confidently
llegas, jabón.
confirm, Nakahara
Jabón.
Mako is likely
Deja de hacer
alive
pipí,
and
jabón.
well. Her work in the
Dije
industry
palabrotas, ¿no?
all
¿Verdad?
done behind the
No.
scenes following her departure from
Soy-
the public eye in 1992.
Soy algo bárbaro.
Looking at how the busy lifestyle of a singer
Sí.
took a toll on her in the mid-80s and how she came back to create
Sí,
her
no.
own
Esta
publicly
canción,
after that
dejen de
1997
spamearme.
hiatus, only to retire completely. I
Vete
think it's
a la
safe to
Tilín.
conclude that she left the public eye simply because it was just
Así vas a
too
hacer ahora.
much.
Is your champion.
Being in the public
Vete.
eye like that and working yourself to the point of exhaustion can no doubt take a toll on one's mental health, even physical health. If this was the case for Nakahara, then I greatly respect her decision to leave the public eye. It's admirable, and I hope she
mientras
found
no
more happiness and a
estás.
more fulfilling career in the years following 1992.
Sí, ¿cómo le diste listo, miando?
Will we see a public appearance from Nakahara again in the public eye? Well, that's entirely up to Nakahara to decide.
Güey, me intriga de verdad.
Up to what she feels
¿Qué,
comfortable.
güey? ¿Cómo le hiciste para meterte y dártele listo?
Re-releases and compilations of her music have been released in recent years through them. This includes 4 different best-of albums.
No, no
Oh
estabas.
no, mi rage.
This information does not say a whole lot about any new project, however, simply that she has the same record label still. I recall buying the on when I was about 17.
Wow.
I still have it actually. When I was just learning to drive in my first car,
¿Estás safe?
I would listen to
No.
Derecha, güey.
as I practiced driving for hours on end in preparation for taking my driving license. Nakahara's music has a special place in my heart for that reason. So, what about you guys? What city pop artist really strikes you?
Ok.
Wow, güey, qué mamada, güey, realmente.
Why do you like them? What draws you to them? Please let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear from you. As for myself, I'm pretty partial to
Amigo, espera.
Disney and China's
No acordaba cómo
myself.
agarrar cosas.
I also love literally everything that Katsuro Yamashita creates. Also, After 5 Clash has the most aesthetic album cover I have ever seen, and I want nothing more
What
than
the?
to have one of the vinyl records for my
What
personal
the?
collection. I mean, just look at him.
¿Estás
This
leyendo?
dude. What a king.
Yo sí, güey, como
Anyways,
No,
that's
el
all for
Elmer.
today. I look
El
forward to
Elmer
seeing
lo
you all
veo
in the next
increíblemente
video, and I really
leído.
hope you enjoyed this little deep
Oh,
dive research
oh, valió
thing of
verga.
mine. Anyways, bye for now.
What the?
Iba jodísimo.
Sí.
Yo iba lagueadísimo.
No, tu internet.
Hey guys,
Wait.
I'm spooky today. Minus
Con mis
the
dos
smugglers,
internets.
so the future.
Con mis
It's
dos-
something that can bring a lot of excitement and uncertainty
Oh.
to many people.
Con mis dos
And
internets
if
voy
you're
como
a
a 1000
member
de
of the
ping.
anime and manga community, you may be familiar with
Verga.
some predictions some manga
Dos internets a la vez.
supposedly made that actually happened. Examples I can think of that involve this are
De
Akira
clasista.
and the Tokyo Olympics thingy that, you know, kind of happened recently, and also Kinobiko Ara,
Pinche
the
güero
creator of
tonto.
JoJo's Bizarre
Oh,
Adventure,
me sacó.
having
Yo,
a
what the
panel
fuck?
that kind of alludes to the
¿Güero
future
qué?
events of 9/11. It does not end there,
Oh, ya empecé a
however.
escuchar la
It's a
chata.
mangaka
Sí,
who has
pito.
actually
No,
released
güey,
15 events, and some of them
Cállate, ya entramos a
With
partida.
that said, in this video, I'm going to
Güey, nos van a penalizar.
and her terrifying
Güey, nos van a
prophecy.
penalizar.
What are you waiting for? Let's do this.
Nos van a penalizar si nos
Not
salimos.
a well-known name, and her looks aren't your typical
Amigo,
popular
penalizar.
Dragon Ball
Ah, mira, ahí estás.
Pendejo.
Ahí salías, güey. Salías de que tu Cali carro.
Any attention until recently, being spring of 2021 and 10 years prior in 2011.
Hola, amigo.
Something
Javi, tú eres el
bad
líder de salto.
happens.
Ya sé, güey, tengo 600 de ping, ¿me permites?
Looks fun over there.
Ah,
600.
pásalo. Pásalo, no te tires tú, güey. Puta madre. Adiós.
¿Por qué te vas?
¿Por qué te vas?
¿Eh?
Porque
Así no va.
Well,
Y sí.
Esa es la de, ¿por qué será?
No, no, la de ¿por qué te vas?
Ya saben que ¿cómo Alan? ¿Por qué te vas?
Igual que mí.
What is
¿Por
this
qué
manga
te vas?
about? What is this
¿Por qué te
Tatsugawa
vas?
Mirai about? A
¿Ya
title
sabes
that
cuándo o todavía no?
translates in English to
Sí.
the future
Ah,
as
pero no me
I
acuerdo cómo
see
va.
it.
Así como la acabo de cantar.
Let's
Bueno,
back up.
hablar, platicar.
Oh,
Real
está ya.
FROSTY was born in Yokohama in 1950.
Oh, no te salió así muy bien. ¡Au!
Good, we're inside.
¿Cómo supo?
Void running.
Better.
The articles I read
Una cantidad impresionante de...
¿De lag? ¿Depresión? ¿Sexo?
I'm pretty sure it's also
De granadas, güey.
Güey, pues se tiran las granadas, no sé, güey. Mi memoria muscular lo hace, güey.
¿Qué?
Hey, necesito otra arma.
What the fuck? ¿Qué hace un güey ahí? ¿Por qué me dio todas las balas?
Nada más se pipó él.
A lifeline es hacker.
¡Oh!
¿Qué te ríes?
Güey, ¿qué verga voy a hacer?
No te metiste ahí. Viste el que decidió metértelo meterte ahí en medio de los tres, güey.
Pues yo pensé que era uno, güey.
Publishing her prophecies in manga form. This
Oh.
manga was, of course, Tatsugawa Mirai. And this brings us to the
Hola.
manga itself and follows the prophecies within it.
Hola.
I gotta be
traes?
honest, the plot of this manga itself is a mystery to me. I mean, there
Racing to
are
the MZ.
articles detailing the manga
When
and
fire starts to
screenshots
burn
of the cover
and
of
starts
the
to spread.
manga themselves,
619,
as well
619,
as the
619.
Death is not on our path.
it is my
Not yet.
assumption that this manga is basically her foretellings.
When fire starts to
like
burn
cold steel on a hot
and it starts to...
day.
¡Ey, yo! Hidroaéreo, acceso pulmonar.
I think they're just straight
Pero se
up.
ve muy homogéneo, entonces lo creo.
On that note, I cannot find
If
any
freedom
kind of
means
listing
survival and
online
survival means winning,
then although it is pretty obscure.
Güey, ¿qué dije, güey? Ni siquiera lo pensé, güey.
No sé, no te puse atención.
Ah, ok.
A little bit earlier.
Wow.
Let me give you kind of a hint about the catastrophe
What?
in question.
Nelson le dijo a Wilson, préstame la llave Stilson, y Wilson le dijo a Nelson, no, no Nes, porque me la descompones. Ah, sí.
Wilson le dijo a Nelson, agárrame el penezón.
Pues, ¡ah!
Jijijojo.
Target landed.
Oh. Fred.
No puede ser.
Phasing.
Oh my god, este juego es demasiado rápido, mi cerebro. ¡Ah!
What? Wow. Qué un lucky.
Oh, please.
Unlucky and unlucky. Wow.
Mira, ahí, me intercambio. Oh my god.
This is when Tolsky had a dream about the earth cracking in the Cuban. It was only 15 days after
Había otro atrás.
that a huge This was the Great Hanshin earthquake. Now,
Nelson le dijo a Wilson, préstame tu llave Stilson, y Wilson le dijo a Nelson, no Nes, porque me la descompones.
prior to the earthquake itself, and
Güey, 20
actually
días sin
did
poder resultan en
evacuate.
lo mismo.
I cannot find confirmation on this.
Sí.
though. The next
Yo creí que nos
premonition
iban a
was
meter
in a
así con
dream
gente
that
normal.
Tolsky had recorded in 1992.
¿Y qué
According to
nos metieron
Tolsky,
con
the dream was rather
con
blurry,
discapacitados
and she
o
had
qué?
difficulty making a lot of it out.
¿Qué?
She did not write keywords
No
into
entendí
the
nada,
dream.
güey, de qué pasaba, güey.
Diana
¿Qué?
and
¿Cómo que con discapacidad?
translates to
Pues sí, jo.
dead. It was 5 years after this premonition, in the year 1997, that Princess Diana tragically died.
Death is not on our
Trotsky had
path.
also claimed that in
Not yet.
1995, she had a dream of attending a funeral, which was her own funeral.
Time to see if all those
It was in the
drills
year
have paid off.
2000 that she actually decided to retire as a mangaka. Tatsuki has clarified that
Reckless and full of wrecks. Let's go.
her career. The next one is one of the big ones. In March of 1996,
Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, chocolatero, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka me chupa un dedo, Willy
Bring
Wonka.
in the noise, boys.
Because of that, it was
Drinking
on
cold
record
ones
and
before the
public
match,
Okay.
making cold.
Drinking cold ones before the match.
No, no quiero.
Hold on tight. It's time to drop shocker. Let's check out that area.
Dime,
No me lo vuelvan a dar, por favor.
hacer cuando seas grande.
This one is from a dream she had in 1995. After a late vacation,
Safety's off. Enemy landed on me.
5 years, an unknown virus.
Bueno.
Wow, no sé cómo le di una bala.
Of course, a virus did appear, though the
Me caga esta arma es la cadera.
now whether or not
Need to recharge my shields.
Bueno, amigo.
With that said, there are other predictions.
¡Wow!
The first one is
Sí pasa.
Catching myself up.
Pero a veces no.
My shields are broken.
Esto con la misa.
Down.
¡Dispara!
Oh, bueno.
Una bala. ¡Vete para acá! Ok.
and tsunami. This was also predicted in the year 1997, and Tatsuki claims it'll happen between
¿Quieren
June
pegar?
and September of 2026.
Vente para acá.
So, again, a little broad. So, this begs the question, are these predictions legit? Honestly, who knows? I mean, yes, the two big predictions of the earthquake and, the pandemic, they're pretty wild, pretty interesting, and that definitely is reason enough for people to flock to her manga, a manga that no one really knew about.
I know where we want to be.
those events. So,
Follow
my
me.
unbiased take on this whole thing is, I mean, it is possible. The only person who really
Nothing
knows
like cold steel on a hot day.
that is experienced and exists is real Tatsuki herself.
Let's
With
go
all
for a
that
ride.
said, I hope you guys enjoyed this interesting video I've done. It's a little different from my usual stuff, but every video I seem to do is a little different from my usual stuff, so...
No
hey,
manches, ese
like
soy
my
yo.
friend Fiona,
Get ready for a light
I
show.
wanted something kind of creepy to talk about on Halloween and upload by Halloween, and here it is. Though I don't... I'm not an expert in rap
¿Qué vas a
music by
hacer
any means.
cuando seas
Japan's
grande?
music genre
Dime.
Sí, eres tú, eres algo.
What the?
Por favor, para, mis oídos no pueden más. Tipo, cooperativo.
Ay, underground scenes and take on a unique identity. It was in the year 1997 when J-Rap was in full swing and a mysterious rapper entered the
Yo
scene.
solía ser una verga.
Okay.
Or at least that was their stage
¿Y
name.
luego?
Me fui a Europa.
No, ya no eres verga.
¡Oh my god! ¡No!
This artist produced two tracks
Fine
on one
Pigs.
single, both made available on this record, which is a very limited underground release. The tracks themselves are fire, but the lyrics themselves are very cryptic and have led many to speculate if there's any deeper
Siempre
meaning
la
behind
humildad
it.
ante todo.
There's a great deal of
Entre todo.
mystery surrounding this
Entre todo.
record, so much mystery in fact that it's become a
O
somewhat
sea, ¿ah, no?
popular internet mystery on the
Trejo.
Japanese internet. Specifically, Futabachan
Target
or
over there.
Chan or 2chan, I really gotta figure out a
No.
name to continue calling this webpage. For years, people have attempted to find out more information on the mysterious record. From the
Getting shot at.
details of the recording
Need to
and the
recharge.
tracks
Ay, tengo
themselves,
miedo.
to the current whereabouts
Tengo
of the
miedo,
artists
tengo
and
miedo.
if they are even still among the living.
Tengo miedo.
The mystery behind this talented artist, someone with a
Tengo
very
miedo.
brief and short-lived career, if you could even call it
Hay
that.
una fucking pinche arriba.
No,
So
eso es
let's go ahead and explore the mystery of
Déjame lo
Nippon
asesino.
Nippon, the most
Oh,
mysterious
Estás
rapper
hablando
of
like
Japan.
yourself on top of the mountain, on top of
Ah, un hombre arriba. Oh. Órale, gay.
Oh no, que viene acá, señor, no la estaba pusheando.
Más gente.
And the other one,
Recharging my shields.
Y ya la Horizon.
Qué cool.
oh.
Oh.
is definitely that
Quería ese güey.
Flash. Oh my god.
Quería ese güey también.
Watch yourself.
No es cierto. No.
worth noting that the has been down hard to
No
come
entro.
by, and
¿Lo
that's
mataste? No.
understandable considering the underground scene.
Lo maté también. What the
I
fuck?
don't really know how many of those
Oh, otro. Ah, estoy una bala, güey.
As I mentioned in my
Baja, 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 tú.
the J-rap scene of Japan gathered a
Bueno, ya no voy a morir.
hip-hop and rap music was seen
Estaba
in the
Flash
rest of
la
the world.
Horizon.
It is, in my opinion, that Japanese culture can have the tendency to add a sense of melancholy into its music, regardless
Oh my god,
of
me
if a
quedé
certain
atorado.
genre originated and holds a different cultural significance there. And
Ow.
this underground scene, what was it like? Well, according to my own personal research, I
Oh my
wasn't
god.
really in any place. It was bleak, distressing. Japanese this, in my opinion,
Ya
scene of the
cerraste
late
a
90s was filled with a
No.
lot of dark
Tampoco.
themes and
Oh,
music that was
okay.
somewhat of an
Ah,
outlet
Apex back.
to those who made
Espérenme,
use of
déjenme,
those
abro el
dark
sexo.
themes. It was an experience shared on one of the 2chan posts that I found discussing Nippon Nippon that
¿Qué?
stuck
¿Por qué
with
hace?
me
¿Cómo
a
se llama?
lot
Puta skin de la
regarding
Red más
this.
culera
A
que yo,
poster
güey.
recalled purchasing an album of an underground rapper in the late 1990s. This
Batucada.
album
Batucada.
webpage,
Tulio.
or to my knowledge, some way
Tú.
to access a
Vamos a
specific
hablar.
webpage. The webpage ended up containing the suicide letter of the rapper on that album. It is
Tulio,
also
vamos al
worth
aire.
noting that, unlike the Akiba tape, the song was available online in some form of another since its release. This is something I cannot definitively confirm, though this did have a release in the late 90s and the internet was kind of picking up speed.
Eventually you gotta pull the trigger.
So I do
Just make sure
find
you know
this
why.
believable. But regardless of this, the mystery and intrigue of this
There's a win
record
out
did
there.
not come about with its initial upload and release. Rather, it came about much later. And by much later, I mean as early as 2008 and then later on in 2011 and 2013. At least these are the most prominent examples of posts and discussion regarding Nippon Nippon that I can find. It may be a more broader and far-reaching understanding of the J-rap scene online, where Nippon Nippon eventually gained traction and their music was recognized and discussed. This was unfortunately much after the fact, when Nippon Nippon was no longer in and now just another rapper that went under the radar. So let's go ahead and get
Looks like fun.
get back to the record in question.
Eres tú el verino, eh?
This was a record
Jets, we're dropping hot.
radar, as I
Vito,
said.
Vito, Gorgorito, vamos ahí. Dijo el Octane, güey.
Keep in mind, this is only
Well.
about $1 in
Vito, Vito, Gorgorito, vamos ahí.
Creo que es cuando dice Dipsy, Mine,
Ándale. Me. Tu idiota, buenas noches.
voy más allá que mi mamá.
Phasing. I'm down.
No. Güey.
Hold tight. I got your back.
Y el Javito nos va a
¿Aquí
proteger.
está? ¿Aquí está?
Buena, Javito. Una protección.
Órale, puta.
Let me just
Need to recharge my shields. Heads up. New kill leader. Need to
La
recharge my
mierda.
shields.
Demasiadas cosas aquí.
To other people it is, yes.
¿Te
But
quedas?
to my knowledge,
Healing. Watch my back.
self-hatred as
Healing
well
up.
as blood being
Eyes are open though.
or unclean. There is also some kind of hatred towards
Mira, hola, Jaito.
way for me to accurately depict the subject matter.
Perdón, no te oí muy bien.
Sick blood that
Tiros.
collected over time.
Opening fire.
More match.
Healing up. Eyes are. Void jumping.
Oh, wait, no me río.
Reloading. Recharging my
¿Ah?
shields.
¡Oiga, viene!
Getting shot at.
Ah, yo no tengo nada. Oh, me violé a uno.
Patching myself up.
Ok, le fallé todo a ese güey.
Enemy shield
Te van a
broken.
matar, gay. ¡Y no tienes guapo!
They spotted me. I'm taking shots.
No, güey.
A lazy
Ni
person
peonga.
is
¿Qué hicieron?
the sun.
Pollo.
I want you to strongly take
Okay.
it forward.
Mocos.
Start, I'll light
Fue
myself
todo lo
up.
que puedo haber dicho.
Moco.
Obvio.
I want to
Mocos.
strongly
Rayos.
forward.
Moco.
Every time I
Rayos y
shamefully do
centellas.
nothing and end up right where I started.
¿Qué? ¿ODK? ¿ODK? Computadora para juegos en forma de L51 pulgadas. ¿Qué verga es computadora para juegos? Es un escritorio.
While there
Una
is
PC
only two
gamer.
tracks with
Es
lyrics
un
on this
escritorio con
album,
3
there's
PCs, güey.
definitely a
Oh.
lot to unpack here,
En
and
Amazon.
honestly, following the
Mira este
subject
ofertón
matter
en
of
el
these
canal de
two
Telegram de la
tracks and vocals,
descripción.
the
Es
outro
buenísimo.
always feels
Güey, me vas a violar el oído.
It's definitely something that makes you feel emotions that
¿Qué,
aren't
güey?
exactly
Te
happy,
siento
and I have a
oído,
hunch
güey.
that is what the artist
No, no.
intended.
Ya se va a
Aside
caer el
from the lyrics,
80%
we
de
also
esto.
have information
No, ya,
provided
está bien,
on the album.
No, síguele.
No me bajes.
¡Síguele!
No me bajes.
Ya te bajé el piso, pues.
¡No! No me bajes.
Amigo, por favor, no me bajes, no lo hagas, por favor, no lastimes mi alma.
Mi
alma
associated with something on an album cover.
De amigongangones, pero fuerte.
The record has the same
No, sí,
information
ya.
printed onto it.
Está bueno el
We've
60.
already
Recio, no fuerte.
Güey, ahorita nomás.
Ah, fuerte.
Ahorita que hable normal.
Recio, recio, no fuerte, recio.
are provided.
Fuerte no.
I'll cut
Tú
us
le
in half.
fuerte.
1997 Vibe Music and produced by Far.
Es que está diciendo que recio está mal dicho y que me
No, que no, que lo diga recio, no fuerte.
Fairly well-known
Ah,
hip-hop record label.
¡Dile fuerte! ¡Dile fuerte!
No, recio. O sea, que lo diga recio.
Hang on.
Catalog of releases and are still around today. Their latest release,
Recio es diferente a fuerte.
High Music was established in 1990.
No
This
entiendo.
was only
Como que-
With that
Muy
considered,
real,
High
nada.
Music
Fuerte,
definitely wasn't as
pero
established
recio.
as they are today. They were very much a new name
¿Qué es
and
recio y
likely
qué es
worked with
fuerte?
a lot of new names.
Recio es eso sí. Fuerte es, o sea, alto pues nomás.
No, eso es alto.
No, eso es
No, alto yo.
recio. ¿De dónde?
Oh. Ah.
What the?
Ay, qué fea. ¿Alguien tiene balas de
Eh,
de
Opening fire.
¿Qué vale?
Enemy shield.
Reload.
That was the last one. Nice.
Va gente ya.
Lo rompí.
This is according to Disney.
Enemy shield.
Was
Reloading.
¿Pero quién es? Oh my god, te la encontré pues. Oh, rompió. Oh. ¡No!
Qué hueva, qué machón.
¿Dónde está ese Francis?
Buena.
¡Ah! ¡Güey!
2, 10.
¡Qué verga! ¡Qué mamada, güey! ¡Oh my god!
Recharging my shields.
¿Por qué llevan tantos?
New kill leader. Watch for them.
Ya hay uno. Ahí hay 3.
That's our banner. We should grab it.
No, yo creo que sí me pelo, ¿eh?
I hear you. Coming. Catching myself up. Lying inside.
I'm safe.
And while the search for this
Ah, yo creo que sí la hago, ¿eh?
been ongoing for
This won't hurt. Hold on.
it's not
Oh my
really
god.
that much of a search. This is unfortunately similar to the case of
Oh my god.
search efforts in Japan.
Está bien loco.
As there's more discussion
¿Dónde me voy? ¿Por qué hay donde? Sí.
No, güey.
Everything provided online,
Chis,
or
los
at least
mariachis,
the
¿dónde
majority
salió ese?
of everything provided online. Did that make sense? I don't know. Theories and discussion have taken place on 2chan threads.
Sí,
This
me
popular
pelo.
one from 2011, as well as another from a little later in 2013. They're pretty long, but
chequen esta
various
foto.
discussion and theories have come about from them. Here's some theories that have come into play.
A ver. Estoy esperando la footing.
It is equally possible that Nipponia Nippon just
Chequen esa
gave up on their music career and decided to go about living as a normal person with a normal 9-to-5 job.
What?
The lyrics of
Me la acabo de topar en
tracks do
TikTok, güey.
suggest that
¿Qué es
they
eso?
may have been homeless.
Sexo con pollo.
This is not confirmed, much like anything
Creo
else.
que hace
on
3
the
TikToks que lo
record,
acabo de
just
ver,
all
güey.
lyrics that are suggestive,
No.
but it
Genders
is
everything.
a theory that many have considered.
Me no entender.
¿Es DreamWorks?
I haven't found my limit.
There are, however, more positive ideas thrown around, however. Maybe Nipponia
We'll win this thing together. Semper Fi or die.
Maybe he just goes by a different name. The voice element is the reason why two rappers are suggested to
Introducing
be
your
Nipponia
champion.
Nippon, possibly today.
Follow my path to
These
win.
Güey,
rappers
creciste
are
en México en los
Hinidori
2000.
and Kurobi.
Primera red social,
These come from
Messenger.
the 2chan
Tu
threads and
PlayStation
are
1
mainly
y
suggested
los juegos de
because
15
they sound
pesitos.
similar to
Sí.
Nipponia Nippon.
Teléfono, ay, ay, ay.
Really, the vocals
Ah.
are all
Ay,
we
ay,
need to
ay.
work off of. Again, theories.
Ajá.
Los tenis que todos querían tener.
Fun over there.
Los de Nike, Coca-Cola.
There's nothing
Primer Spotify y Netflix.
Bart!
Ok, pero los precios, güey. Los sondoritos a 3 pesos. Tu primer maquillaje. No soy vato. Manitas pegajosas. Ah, están bien perras, güey. Lo que veía tu mamá. Acompáñame a ver esta triste historia.
Target landed near me. Wrong choice.
Oye, eres tú, Javier.
Broken enemy shield. Reloading. Beside me. I'm taking enemy shield broken. Reloading.
No, ese era mío.
Era pasado.
Pues ligero.
O sea, se queden, era.
Era mío también. No, güey.
¡No tengo lag! Dios mío, no le di una bala, güey.
Giving him the shit. You'll be alright. I gotcha.
Oh my god. Qué buen compatriota.
1 minute. Rings nearby.
Yo, generé.
Muchas gracias, compañero.
De nada.
Just using a Phoenix kit.
Oh, wow.
Disappeared. They
Wow.
left without any warning, and Foz simply
miedo.
never heard from them again.
Tengo miedo.
At least, Foz
Keeping an eye. Let's explore this way.
¡Nota flash!
I'm gonna take this gun.
Ay, güey.
Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, I am a
Senta,
little
no flash.
to what P-Make directly
Pero le di.
translates to.
Oh my god, me metí a la boca del lobo, me metí, amigos. Vamos, Javito.
New kill leader. Watch for them.
¡Revívelo casi! ¡Qué buena
Tiene
flanqueada!
más gente, ¿no?
Buena flanqueada, compañeros. ¡Cuidado! Se acerca un poquito. Güey, ¿de dónde?
Ah, nice.
Viene otro, viene tres, viene tres.
No. Oh my macaronis and cheese.
Yeah. One theory I had personally regarding this EP
Que ya
is
no,
maybe
ya
there
tampoco
is
pues
some
que sería
lost
baneado,
media
así es que
involved
pues
in it,
déjame
that being
diferente.
a lost unreleased
A
track,
monetizar,
an
pues.
unfinished track because
Soy
of
nivel
Napoleon's
1.
departure, or possibly some recording of a live performance that had taken place in the late
Ay,
90s
sí.
before the artist's departure. Though there
Está
is
bien fea
absolutely
esa
no
madre.
proof that any lost media surrounding this
¿Qué?
album exists. Let me just make that
Lo
clear.
del loguillo
As
ese.
far as we know, no such
de nivel
recordings
1,
or
sí.
footage exists.
Oh my god, estos están bien vergas.
Since we
Los
don't
radios,
know
bueno,
when the
radio,
artist
sí, los
Es que ya
radios
no iba a
estos que
decir
eran azul.
don't really have
palabrotas.
much to go off of. We don't know their actual
no, en
name or
partida.
anything about them as a
Ah,
person.
ok.
All we really
Oh,
do
este está
have
bien
is what they
chido.
sound like and the dark
Este está
subject
bien
matter
chido.
of their music, as well
¿Se
as the
acuerdan del
musical
radio
style.
azul?
No.
Así chiquito. Y lo que tenía una lucecita.
So in recent years, there
Este.
haven't been any new
Eventually, you gotta pull
Era
the
un
trigger.
Discman porque no le cabía un
groundbreaking
disc.
details in the search for Nipponian
Había un
Nippon. That one blog
tango,
post did
pinches.
reveal a little bit of
I don't push the envelope, I shred it.
person's whereabouts and
Pinches.
the fact that
Loco,
they
no.
just, kind of dipped.
Qué loco
But
que le
other
cabía un
than that,
Dan.
there's been
¿Qué es un
nothing
Dan?
in recent years.
Miren.
No concrete info, but many are firm on the idea
¿Se acuerdan?
of
Ay, ya en
suicide.
mis tiempos.
This is not confirmed. Let me just be clear here, but
Ya
a
lo
lot
vieron,
of
por
the
favor, véanlo.
information that
¿Qué
is
cosa,
available
güey?
to us does
¿Qué?
point to a more grim outcome.
Stay
Now,
close.
granted, we
I'm the jump
barely
master.
have any
¿A dónde lo
information
mandé?
at all.
El radio con
Just the
lamparita.
dark
Se
subject matter
lo
of
mandé al
music
Javito
and
nomás, mándalo, Javito.
given by
Okay.
r/com in that
No, güey, mándalo tú, güey, qué verga.
Jumping in.
This is not
Hang on.
Voy a tener activo.
Honestly, I'm not sure if this mystery will ever be resolved. There's a lot of speculation that goes with it that
No se
barely
pega la
ever
imagen.
can
Imagen.
come to a legitimate conclusion with. Again, I'm not an
No.
expert with
Careful.
opera,
Hostile landed
but
near
I
me.
can tell that a lot of emotion went into the writing
Target
of this
landed near me.
music.
Vaya.
It
Wrong
is
choice.
very clear that this artist has
¿Ya tienes
talent.
arma, Javito?
No.
Oh my god.
However, been 25 years since the release of the LP, and the
My god, métete. Oh my god, no habla.
Amigos, me ayudan.
He may be the same passionate musician.
Enemy shield broken. First blood. Good work.
Abajo, abajo.
Maybe he just doesn't want to be associated with the name.
What the?
The reason is,
Me ayudan, por favor.
hope he's doing
¿Dónde? Where are you
Madre,
from?
¿quieres que esté en tus nalgas, güey?
all I have for you today.
Need to recharge my shield.
De la derecha, hay casi.
Okay, okay, okay.
Viene otro por acá, güey.
¿Qué, qué?
Ok,
no.
Acá
Está ahí
arriba.
arriba, sí, arriba.
And also huge shout out to Matt
Okay.
helping me out with the lyrics a ton.
Voy arriba, casi. Me veo pendejo conmigo porque los
She
otros.
clarified a lot and helped me equally as
El 86, güey.
Healing. Watch my back.
The tale that I
Catching
am about
myself
to
up.
tell you is a curious one. one that affected numerous people for a decade during the end of Japan's Showa period, one that still brings fear to those who witnessed it, to the point that incidents involving this topic remain a taboo in certain
Healing up.
circles.
Eyes are open though.
Allow me to introduce you to the
We're inside.
Ikininyo, otherwise known in English as the living doll. Its namesake is for good reason. This doll's story
Stay alert.
remains an
There might be
infamy
enemy
and
Another squad's attached. Focus.
Estamos con dos
in
tipos
the
diferentes.
late 1970s. A TV
¿Tienes un
appearance
WhatsApp?
mishaps that were witnessed live by thousands of viewers.
Vamos a meter.
Rarely witness this incident to this day. Though, before I get a little too ahead of myself, let's back up a little. To understand the namesake of the Ikininyo, you must have actually beginning, that being 1976.
¡Qué mal, puto!
Atrás de ti,
Need to
casi.
recharge me.
Enter Junji Inagawa,
Vale, verga.
in Japan's television industry today, particularly for his appearances on such
Wow.
shows as Takeshi
Buena
Sasaki
del
and
cara.
TV.
Otro, Javito, no te.
During the
No, güey, son dos ahí,
1970s,
métete.
however, Inagawa was involved
Ya,
Wow.
va por la
being
puerta.
radio and stage
Pues,
plays.
tengo el lag, no puedo
The
hacer.
latter focusing particularly on women Japanese female oriented dolls are slightly larger and more articulated to accommodate fluid movements on stage. All was well
Dumbass.
in Inagawa's life and career, though it's when Inagawa was set to work on a folk music radio broadcast late one night that the first of many vexatious events occurred. It began with sudden, unanticipated crying that was hysterical and unable to be stopped. The crying came from one of the performers that were a guest. As Inagawa made his way to this performer, the station director
No mames, no pelees, güey. Revive.
No voy a pelear, güey, nomás te voy a agarrar.
no avail.
Sí.
Explained that he heard a woman's voice on the radio as the songs were being played.
Te has regresado.
A woman who was
ya
now
voy, güey.
deceased. The
Tengo mucho lag.
intense feelings of sadness and longing
Y
for
la
this
Cuauhtémoc
woman
que tenga mejor
overwhelmed the
internet.
man, and he
Oh,
was
ya
unable
eres que el
to
uno, güey,
shake
que
his
está.
feelings despite his best efforts.
Ya no sé
The
tan
musician
pro.
remained upset for the remainder of the
Próstata, ya soy.
broadcast. He was so distraught as it wrapped up that Inagawa ultimately escorted the man
¿Qué?
to his home after the broadcast had
Estatura
ended.
y hiperplástica.
Inagawa and the musician entered a
Ah,
taxi
okay.
together, the stress of the night seemingly
Con mi vecino.
resolved and simmering down a bit. Only this was solely the beginning. As Inagawa rode in this taxi,
Güey, al
he
final, si
started
te vas a
taking
comprar tus
note of
tenis,
a little girl he witnessed
grandes.
outside the car window.
No
A girl
encuentro, güey.
dressed in a red
Si encuentro, sí.
kimono. Such
Güey, pues,
attire
ya te mando un
certainly
vergo
stood
ideas
out in
yo,
the
güey.
1970s as
Güey,
this
pero
type of
tan
dress
cuestan
was
3,200
out in
tus
rather
ideas,
fashion
güey.
by this point. Sure, an older woman in a
Lo siento,
kimono
no
would not
sabía
be
que
too
costaban eso, la
unusual a
verdad, ya
sight,
nomás te los
but
mandé, no se veían.
a
Sí,
little girl.
después encontré
The
uno.
taxi continued onward, but he
No
saw her
worry, o
again.
sea, no hay
and
prisa.
then
O sea, no hay
again,
worry. O sea, no te
respawning on
preocupes.
every
O sea,
block despite
No
not
worry,
moving.
o sea, no hay
The
prisa.
eeriest part of it all, this girl was making direct eye contact with Inagawa.
Rock up. It's time to move out.
Inagawa described
me
it
if
as
you want
dark
to win.
and filled with some kind of resentment and hatred. When the
Güey, ¿qué
taxi
te
came to a
parecieron
stop,
mis
Inagawa swears he bore witness to this girl
sexo?
levitating towards him. With that grim expression on her face,
interesante, la verdad.
more intense. And then,
Güey,
just
¿cuántos
like
videos?
that,
Estamos
the
jugando
girl
Apex, güey.
was gone. Stunned beyond words, Inagawa looked
horas ya.
around. Neither the musician nor the taxi driver were reacting in any way. They did not
sí, ya
witness
2
the
horas.
same
Empezó a las
occurrences
9,
that
¿o no?
Inagawa
I'm the
just
jump
had.
master.
They had
This
not
time.
seen the
Wait,
little
bueno,
girl
sí.
in the red kimono. Perhaps Inagawa was just tired. It had been a long
Shoot
day
this.
after all.
No,
As
güey,
he
estás por las
finally
9:30,
returned
Dios.
home, he noticed his
Güey, ni de
wife
pedo
was
no te creo
already
nada, güey, no es
asleep.
cierto.
Inagawa
Sí, es que
decided to do the
el
same.
horario de
That very next
Discord está
morning,
mal.
Inagawa's wife
Es una hora de
had
las
swore
How
she
about there?
heard footsteps before she went to bed that evening. Despite this,
Here we
nobody
go,
was
ready
ready
up.
Inagawa was busy working at the station
What
at
the
this time. Once again, Inagawa just shrugged it
Oh my
off.
god, me estoy muriendo.
The incident at the radio station
¿Dónde vamos a caer?
was long
Yo creo que voy a caer ahí.
forgotten later, and Inagawa received
Parece.
an offer to work as a script
Yo creo que voy a caer allá.
I say we move there.
Inagawa eagerly
Y no alcanzaste.
day of the project filled with anticipation
Medio mundo
and
aquí.
excitement. But then, just like that,
Hombre, increíble, otra pude puto revenant. Hombre, una cool fuse.
¿Puedes
Inagala decided to once again conclude that it was simply that. With that, he cast his unsettling
What the? What the?
Es que el cabrón de arriba me violó, güey.
El de arriba
The
y lo
doll
abajo
was now
3 y lo abajo
completed, but
4.
there was a complication. For reasons unknown to Mino, the doll had arrived with a broken arm and leg. Mino swore that he had no clue how the doll ended up this way. When he returned the doll to the maker for repairs later on, and
Casi, ¿cuánto te pide de XP para subir de nivel?
¿Cuánto me pide?
The actual cause of damage was
Sí.
never witnessed by human eyes.
¿Qué es
The
eso,
doll
Shamil?
would just keep ending up like this. The crew attempted to seek out
what?
the doll maker one last time,
también a
hoping
mí,
to
yo creí
figure
que iba a
out a way to
bajar
prevent
eso.
the doll from breaking yet again. With opening night of the play rapidly
Es el
approaching,
contrario,
the
tendría que
situation had to be rectified soon. Though, when
What? No.
Mino, Inagala, and the others accompanying them
Pues ya
arrived
eres
at
nivel
the
1 otra
doll
vez.
maker's shop,
Por
it
eso.
was completely cleaned out and shut down.
Debería de
The
bajar
doll
la
maker
cantidad
had vanished with no
de
information
XP
given
necesaria
on
para subir de
where he
nivel, ¿no?
left to. He had completely vanished without
Pero que
a
subir porque
trace.
estás muy alto.
People who created and repaired these
No, eres
tons of
nivel 1.
elaborate dolls
No, pero
were
tú
far
estás en
enough
el
between
nivel
them
1
at that
de
time. Once
la
again,
segunda
even in
fase.
such things were
Sí,
becoming
es como
scarce.
cuando prestigias, pues ya debería de bajar otra vez. O sea, como si estuvieras
Pero
iniciando
no
otra
me
vez.
vas a subir el infinito.
The events that took place following this proved to be
quiero
even
unas
more
donas.
jarring. Shortly after the
Burger
discoveries of the doll
chips.
maker, the scriptwriter tasked with writing
¿comer?
dialogue for the play shared some unsettling news.
Ah,
His house had completely
Dogos?
burned down. He was able to escape, but the house itself was destroyed in its
What the?
entirety. The portion of the script that he'd
¿Comer
been
hot dogs?
working on was also
What?
completely lost. Being long before the days of internet and digital
O sea, que te salgan hot dogs
it
del
was
pene
shortly
o
following the
comer eso.
setback that tragedy struck yet
Ah,
again.
Simón.
Mino, the lead
Es pregunta en serio,
player,
güey.
shared news that his cousin had
puta, que serio.
the official
Hay
cause
que
of
usar-
Tamina
hay que
Optimus
usar-
Prime.
Hay que hacer buen uso del...
His cousin was young and healthy. It was a shock to his entire family. Despite these
Tamina
horrible
Optimus
setbacks,
Prime.
a lot of progress had been made to complete this production. Beyond that,
¿Cómo será ese
time,
chumete Optimus Prime?
energy, and of course, money had been invested in the completion, and they
¿Cómo
had
qué?
to make
¿Qué
that
es?
money back.
¿Quién se en serio?
For the sake of those working on the project,
¿En serio?
especially those who needed that money,
Mira, una escopeta pensando en... Nos va a ayudar ya.
Reloading. Recharging my
Está
shields.
Flash la loba, güey. Nada está la loba.
Por ahora.
still recalling that little girl in her
Oh my god, está Flash, sí, también.
the back of his mind with each passing day. The road to opening night was filled with mishaps. While not as prominent as hoped,
Need to
burning
recharge
down
my
and
shields.
overwhelming deaths, various accidents came about without any valid
33.
in sight. First, lockers filled with costumes would be
Wa-
soaked
wow.
in water. These lockers were not anywhere near any pipes or
¿Qué, güey?
water
La mejor
source.
granada que tiro en mi vida.
Next, other props such as this
Me da mucha risa, güey.
Reloading. Full squad's
Se
down. We made the
asustó.
right choices.
incidents eventually ended with various injuries
Eyes are
to
open
the
now.
team.
Me dio mucha risa.
¿Dónde te la tiraste, güey?
La tiré ahí.
Tiraste al techo por si
pasaba,
acaso,
güey.
Was to a right hand or right knee.
Me dio risa, güey. Da
Inagala
risa.
then thought back to that
Ay,
dog.
ay, qué-
Need to recharge
Ah,
my
estoy
shields.
Ya me fui, ya me fui. No puedo pelear de todos esos.
second enemy shield.
doll were also
No.
Right here.
really just a coincidence. At this point, Inagawa refused to believe it as such. This was
Flecha uno.
¿Aquí?
the
Nice.
theater group to drop the project
El otro no sé dónde se fue.
proceeding could prove to be
Ya lo tiré, lo tiré.
others did not agree and did not believe him. Feeling the ideas Inagawa presented were too outlandish and that the incidents were
Unresting,
merely
creo.
coincidental.
Pelada me revives,
The need to make a profit on this project and see the fruits of all the combined creative efforts were of a much higher priority. And Inagawa, while he
Vienen.
decided to stay on the project as well. He was mainly worried for his Inagawa ultimately
Okay.
decided to pass on and see the project
Sube.
to its completion. This brings us to opening night. At last, the sets were prepared, the cast was prepared after countless rehearsals. The play was set to debut at noon, but shortly before, cast members began complaining that
Oh my god, tan... Ah, ok.
inability to speak. Despite their best efforts, scheduled the next day. Inagawa decided that he should take independent actions to try and correct the situation, that being the spiritual situation with the doll. Not knowing what else he could possibly do, he visited local shrines in the area and purchased
Ah, la
various
Pepsi
charms
azul
and
se veía
items
bien
that he
rica,
felt
nunca la
may
probé, hijo de
help. It seemed silly, but at this point, what else could he do? At this point, nothing was happening to Inagawa directly, and he was primarily worried that his fellow team members would get hurt, more than they already had been. This, much to Inagawa's relief, seemed to help. The play debuted without any issue, that is, until the final act. This involved
Pues
a
me
scene
pondría
with the
así
doll
completamente
being placed in
obeso.
a coffin. When the doll was meant to move
Y
in
luego
the
ya.
scene, emerging from the coffin, something
Ahí la
happened.
Bimbo, dijo
This was
Wonder.
when the crew heard a loud
Ahí nos
thud,
vemos.
followed by another smaller one. Looking down, they realized all the limbs
Visto
on the doll
Calixto.
just fell off. In unison, without any warning, Inagawa also recalls the entire stage area becoming cold, almost frigid. Some who were present also recall the stage appearing to have a fog over it. According to the cast members,
Me
this was
piro,
not meant
vampiro.
to be an effect. They
Sí,
were
adiós.
unclear as to where the fog came from. The play itself was well
Sepa la bola.
received, so much so
No,
that
sí.
the producer and Lion
Güey, yo decía eso,
became
güey.
enthusiastic about continuing, and
Yo decía,
continue
sepa la bola y
they did.
listo,
During
Calixto.
the run of the play, Inagawa received
got
word
this
that
round
his
squared
father
away.
had passed away. He, to this day, remains unsure if his father's death was actually related to the events experienced during the run of this play, however. And as a side note, Inagawa has
Una
been
vez de
very
uña, pa.
discreet about the name of this production and where it took place and how
I'm
long
the
it
jump
took
master.
place. Photos
This
do
time.
exist from behind the scenes, one with the doll
De bolón
and
ping-pong.
Lionel. I
Oh,
can
está buenísimo.
merely only assume
De
that
bolón
Inagawa is
ping-pong.
worried for those who seek out this supposedly cursed play. This is why he's so
What?
secret.
Here we go.
about
Ready
Otro
up.
mapa.
where the play actually took place and what it was actually
Este es
called.
otro mapa. En este mapa vamos a
Ese
matar.
mapa, ese
Ya
mapa,
en
digo,
este
soy el
mapa.
mapa, soy el mapa.
En este mapa vamos a matar perritos que se llaman bravos. ¡A la verga, no puedo mover!
That he could
What?
move on from all of this. But
Wow.
this is
¿Perritos
when the
de la
TV
pradera?
appearances came
¡Vete
into
a la
play.
verga, come
Out
pito!
of nowhere, Inagawa
No,
began
que no iba a
calls
decirlo.
from television and radio programs.
No me roto.
Moco.
He was fairly easy to reach. This was no surprise.
Chanfle.
Somehow, people had caught wind of what happened to the doll during that recently
Vete a la
finished
verga,
stage
come
production.
pito.
They were fascinated by the incidents surrounding the doll.
Chanfle,
Thought it
chavito.
would make for good TV. Inagawa not having the doll.
Qué bueno, qué bueno.
passed the message along to the audience.
Oh,
The doll. And there were a couple of
¡a la mierda! Ok.
Oh, at this point,
Uno roto, uno tirado.
These
Cálmate,
attempts
Montes.
included the early list of incidents such as lights falling and equipment not working or turning on. The first attempt
Ay,
is said to have
hola.
been minor at the beginning, mumbling words to the doll, as if he
La
was
play también la Horizon.
conversation
Buena.
with her.
Nice.
Later claimed to have no recollection of doing this at
Reírme,
all.
puta.
According to Inagawa himself, the film reel
No
of the
ríes.
Reguero
second
sirviente.
broadcast
Wow.
attempt
No,
does
wow.
exist within the sequence
Wow.
which he recommended. The earliest successful public distribution of
Cuidado,
the
es que la
story
zona,
being
güey.
told was in
Es que te ríen zona.
1978. The retelling attempt made it easier to get the word out without any slip-ups. And word definitely got out.
Calmontes. ¿Cómo?
Following that
Cálmate,
shooting
Montes.
incident with
Calmontes.
took the doll into his possession. He decided to go
Cálmates,
full
Montes,
fledged with
Altamontes.
Calmantes,
and found a
Montes.
psychic attempt of having this doll rectified or cleansed.
Cálmate unos montes.
To Inagawa's
Ay,
bewilderment,
unos
the
calmantes.
psychic
Unos calmantes.
to look at it, claiming it was too evil.
Qué
¿Por
asco.
qué me dio tanta risa
Psychic
eso?
to
No
at least
sé.
try and help with the doll, as it already affected so many people. Inagawa, the doll was definitely cursed. No,
Ok, creí que me hace robar las
also
balas.
shared a rather startling revelation.
Hija, a la verga, tengo
One
escudos,
without
¿quieres?
the psychic knowing any prior info regarding
Pegan,
the doll's
pegan, pegan.
background. You see,
Eh,
according to the
voy.
psychic, the doll
Ah,
was possessed by multiple
Oh,
spirits. The most powerful
Es que tienes que, tiene que ser con más ímpetu.
According to the psychic,
Salí
¡Eh, no,
mal.
the girl in her living life was an untimely death during an air raid during World War II. Her specific cause of death? Complications
Oh,
from
son
the
como
death
500
of
clics
and
por segundo los
delayed.
míos.
The psychic did
A
not
la
share
madre,
como medio.
500 por segundo.
¡Oh!
Shortly following his meeting with her.
Ya
Güey,
se
Inagawa
va.
decided to continue attempting to
Listen up.
Pegan.
That's my wingman here.
After all, the doll didn't really get to harm him directly.
R301.
Sin balas,
He
cuidado.
felt it was a tale with
Todavía no hay balas, güey, cuidado. Pinche gente hambriada.
the Icky Ninjo's most infamous
Que te valga
television
verga,
appearance,
güey.
one that made
Oh,
this
está
doll
bien,
well
güey,
known
es que
throughout
México.
the country of
Ay, me
Japan
caí.
would take place in 1979 during a segment for a daytime variety
Ok,
show
raza
known
está.
as Plus Alpha. The incidents witnessed
es
during this
realista.
live broadcast are vividly recounted on
Realism.
sites like Niche
Oh my
to
god,
this
oh my god,
day.
fuck me.
Need to
Yeah.
recharge my
This incident
shields.
itself, despite many
Can you
vivid
just, like,
recollections,
whip
only
your
aired
dick
one
out and
time,
fucking
it
shove
is
me
now
with it?
lost
Okay.
media. The 1979
No, thank you.
incident on Plus Alpha is
But
what
please,
truly
I will
brought
pay
to
you
life the
$100
Icky Ninja
bucks. Oh my
legend that
god,
remains strong to this day as one of Japan's most renowned urban
Cookie
legends.
Girl
There are
Syndrome.
people all over the Japanese internet
Cookie.
who defend their accounts of this incident
Así
100%.
como-
These
Ah.
segments are all very similar to each other. Found on Niche on YouTube comments
Qué
and
cookie
even
como el de
on
Malcolm, el de
Japan
medio.
answers, they're all very similar
Ah,
in
no,
narrative.
era el de. El manual de Ned. Están crafteando. Voy a entrar, voy a entrar.
Estaba en el medio.
Es que dale, güey.
Chocó.
Ah,
Aquí, aquí, aquí.
oh, balas, necesito balas, no tengo escopeta, what the fuck.
Güey, allá.
No sé a quién de usted le di, pero. ¡Hay dos conmigo!
There was no child. No child was present on the set.
Se pasaron de rosca, eh.
Güey, ¿quién yo? ¡A la mierda!
Clearly, this
¿Qué? ¿Qué? Nos van a matar.
And were visibly confused.
Los dos
As I
equipos.
said, there was no child next to the doll. It was sitting by itself.
Catching myself up.
What most
Me ríen.
accounts claim to have
No me
seen
ven
was
aquí.
a young boy
No me ven.
standing next to
No me
the
ven aquí.
Icky Ninja.
¿Me
No me
esperas?
ven.
It wasn't
No me
long
ven aquí,
after
no.
this
Ah, no, o sea,
because
por
of the
favor.
confusion that followed that the studio lights began shaking, flickering, and ultimately falling. Metal poles fell as well, almost hitting the group being filmed.
Eso está
The
carita.
went off there for a bit.
Les van a llegar por la espalda,
What the? Tenemos que seguir en la iglesia.
Was chaos. Yet another
No,
claim is
nos
that the
pasó muchas
expression of the
cosas.
doll changed when the show resumed its broadcast. Those
¿Por
who
qué te
saw it
tiraste?
appeared angry.
Dijiste,
Que era uno.
voy a entrar y
Pues
te
eran
saliste.
The doll's expression change was before
Tiré mi
or
ulti,
after
es
the
que
cut
entré
to
para tirar mi ulti. Luego ya le quise pushar a ese güey.
The episode
No,
had
me
become
violaron.
somewhat of a taboo topic
Sí,
and never
pirilín.
aired again. It's unknown if the film was destroyed, recorded over, or just left in an archive or warehouse to
Váyase
slowly
por la
rot away.
banqueta.
The thing with film is
Váyase
it
por
doesn't
la
stay preserved
banqueta,
forever,
hombre.
so if this film wasn't destroyed
Hágase
and
la
someone
verga,
created it,
hombre.
it
Peso
would be
pluma fusión.
because
Estoy
this
listo.
specific episode of Alpha Plus, a show that ran for 10 years between 1972
Hágase
and
la
1993,
verga.
one single time, many simply doubted its existence, thinking it was nothing more than a myth. Though, regardless, and especially after the internet came
Fusióname.
into play and connected the masses, many swore they watched this segment
Ya
on
probaste el
TV.
filtro de
And
viejito.
if you're assuming this whole story
No
is
me
a work
jala a
of
mí.
fiction with the whole spooky story,
Hágase la
No
Guess
jala en
what?
mi
Screenshots of the
dispositivo
actual
porque
TV
soy
appearance did actually
no soy
surface
homosexual.
online. Yes,
No, pero
the
está en
incident
TikTok.
really did happen.
Ya sé,
It's well known
dice,
to
no
many
es
people throughout
tu dispositivo
Japan,
no es
even to this
compatible.
day,
Ah,
40
tu dispositivo no es
years later.
compatible con este
And these
filtro.
images
Ah,
have been
porque es
passed around on
Xiaomi,
internet for
Oppo,
quite some
Huawei.
time
Güey,
now.
vean las
There's
nominadas para Miss
also a
Universo.
Honor.
later TV appearance with
A ver.
Inagawa and a replica of the Ikininyo that did surface
Ya la
as
mandaste.
well. Footage of this later appearance can be
no
found on
puede ir
YouTube and
Olympics.
Wow.
Chronicle.
Wow.
The full original broadcast
Master.
of that first 1979 appearance has not been recovered aside from these images, though. I've said this plenty of time in my lost media videos, but
Who's
it's
phone over
worth
there?
saying again here.
Oh, ese es un OG.
It did exist in the late 1970s,
Bueno, no
though
quería
was
algo.
not commonplace just yet. Later on, Betamax recordings
No.
specifically caught on in Japan, however.
Zambútate en el
This
lodo,
specific
puta.
tape
Gorgorito.
format does better
Vamos
at
ahí.
preserving media over the standard video tapes people were more acclimated to in the West. With
Here
that
we go.
said,
Ready
later
up.
doll appearances
Pito,
being
pito,
documented
gorgorito. Vamos
the
ahí.
infamous one, however, possible but
21st
not
of September.
likely,
Agosto
unfortunately.
que pa. Dácatela.
21 de
¿Dónde vais a caer?
Tlatelolco, Sinaloa.
So, what about these
Hostile
later
landing.
appearances?
Hostile spotted.
And what about the doll itself? What eventually happened to it?
Pito,
Well,
gorgorito.
as I said, Inagawa made
Vamos ahí.
appearances with this doll on a few more occasions following this. Despite the apparent dangers the
Hola, amigo
presence
virgen.
of this doll entailed,
Oh,
TV
hola.
stations ate the lore behind this doll up, and when it came down
Oh,
to it, the
oh,
doll made for TV. And good
Oh,
TV.
oh my god.
The way Inagawa discussed
Oh, atrás de mí, what the?
speed and cadence of his speech is not something I've personally witnessed with any other male
No.
Healing up. Eyes are open now.
Okay, ahí está.
Give my shields a recharge. Patching myself up.
Puso una pinche.
But let's
Ven
get
los
back
güeyes de
to
este lado, ven, ven.
what became of the doll itself.
I'm taking shots.
Nice.
Uno, pero pues ayuda.
Tira uno ya, entra, tío.
Rompió otro.
Recharging my shields.
Right after the occurrence at the studio, Inagawa and Ryan visited the home of
está
a
reviviendo.
colleague, a man by the name of
Se abre la puerta.
His
Listo.
family ran an inn in Nishizu, a small seaside town in Shizuoka Prefecture. Inagawa and Mayano entered the inn with the doll, and Taniguchi's family, who was
Patching
greeting
myself
them
up.
at the entrance, went silent. Upon looking at the doll, the male
They
faced
spotted me. Taking shots.
side.
Reloading.
Some kind
Recharging
of
my
sick
shields.
grin. The hair of the doll had been
Watch my back.
standing up as if it was electrocuted. This doll
Healing
now
up.
better resembled
Eyes are
a
open now.
Hanya or Kuchisake Onna, a woman prevalent in Japanese folklore. But rather than turning Inagawa and Mayano away, Taniguchi's wife made an unexpected
Hostile
offer
close.
to take the doll to be enshrined as well as make her a fresh kimono, as the current kimono
Estoy
was a
yendo
little
ahí, pero no
dirty.
puedo dar.
Inagawa agreed, and the doll was
Oh my god, Lalo está super low.
¿Quién es?
For Inagawa, and Mayano even received an offer to perform
ya
in
voy.
production. Aside from
No, cuidado, ya no más. Casi sin escudo.
Last member's down. One spot closer to winning.
Nice kill, compadre.
I'm the killer.
Tomamos las decisiones correctas, muy true.
La verga, me ganó.
following the receival of this news,
¿Tienen curitas? No.
Poquillas, poquillas.
Una.
¿Qué quieres?
Sí.
Oh, wow.
¿Ya los tiré? ¿Ya los tiré?
Recharge your shields.
¿Qué cosa?
Los shields.
Ah, ya vi, ya vi.
El escudo, güey.
¿Qué
Ok,
cosa?
va.
To completely
¿Cómo?
shut down
No
any
entendí.
discussion
¿Qué?
involving it. It was just
¡Amigo!
to revisit after Mayano's
No
passing.
entendí
Yo no lo
güey.
quiero.
Later, when
¿Qué cosa?
El escudo.
Pero lo
Que
agarré, ¿no?
casi había pedido por
It took a
eso.
little while, but
Ah,
Inagawa eventually
Pero
conceded.
casi pidió.
This is when he learned that the doll
Hijas.
havoc beyond
Dijo
what
que
Inagawa
pidió
had
curas.
thought.
Ajá.
¿Qué
The
curas?
doll had formed some kind of bond with the young daughter of Taniguchi.
No
The
entiendo.
girl began
Voy a
to stay
matar,
up
güey.
No,
all
está
night
bien,
and
amigo.
the doll spoke to her. This young girl ultimately stated that the little
O sea,
girl
no pasa
haunting
nada,
the
es
doll
que somos
wanted
un
Mrs.
equipo.
Taniguchi to be her
¿Sabes?
mother.
Mis huevos.
This
Oigan bien.
understandably
Car SMG here.
frightened Mrs.
Equipo que te va a meter por el
Taniguchi,
ano.
and she expedited
Nah,
the process
ojo,
of enshrining the doll. And by
Ajá.
expediting,
¿Qué fue?
she did not make a kimono. She did no more than shove it into the hands of someone of a local shrine and just wanted
What
nothing
the-
more to do with it. Not long after this, a
Found an
tender
extended
priest
energy
had
mag here.
contacted the
Level two.
Taniguchi family with the final outcome of this doll. At
Gente
some
para allá.
Sounds
point,
like
the
enemy
doll
activity
simply
that way.
vanished from the shrine.
Gente
Nobody within the
para allá.
shrine could
Hostile over
explain
there.
how or why the doll vanished.
Oh, de hecho.
She woke up one morning and it was simply
No sé, una de
gone.
TikTok.
Inagawa would tell
Vamos
this
por
story
esto.
to countless audiences following this specific
Got him.
incident. He even claimed that the spirit visited his home one last time late at night. As initially a dark shadow standing
Opa.
right outside his rice paper door. No one was in the house that night, and that shadow was definitely not a simple human one. Inagawa tried to ignore it and just go back to sleep. That is, until the door began to slowly slide open. He could make out a face in the
no,
darkness
gente en el
peeking at
otro-
him from the cracked door.
El otro o la abuela.
That's when he realized it was the
Yo
doll.
creo que se
The
fueron.
doll was moving and she had found him. Inagawa admits
personas
his
tan
panic,
homosexuales.
wondering if his late friend
Notificación de
Milo
iPhone.
had seen this very sight before his house became engulfed
Tú eres
in
pobre,
flames
tú no
and
tienes
his demise.
Samsung.
But then, just like that, the doll became
Siempre
shadow
ved.
once again.
Dan
And
unas
then
arañas.
the shadow disappeared. This would be the last time Inagawa saw the doll.
What?
This was over 35 years ago. It was in 1999, following another television appearance where he discussed the doll, that Inagawa met his daughter.
Ahí.
Enemy over
The
there.
daughter, now a grown woman,
No.
told Inagawa that she had
¿Queréis un
maintained
Phoenix?
some kind of telepathic connection with the doll
Si
and
quiero,
knew
que si
where it
tengo.
was roughly at all
Quieren.
times. She claimed that
Pues,
the doll
sí.
seemed to be stored away in
Gente
a
de
warehouse in the mountains somewhere at that time
Vamos a
being
pucharle a esos
1999.
gays.
The daughter left Inagawa with one final
Aquí.
message, that the
Oh,
doll
sí, me acuerdo.
told her that she would find Inagawa again somewhere. Inagawa
Se leyó
asked her
Jaito
to
con la ulti.
elaborate. Instead, she drew a picture. It was of a stage
Ok.
with props and lighting.
¿No se fue uno?
Inagawa recognized
¿Sí o
¿No?
no?
Es uno,
Son
caca.
dos. No, no, son dos.
the stage she performed on
Lo rompió uno, Jaito.
years ago. Inagawa would also
¡Oh, lo tiré!
Eyes years ago. He was apparently a monk now,
Care package
living in
over there.
solitude. The dollmaker's decision to do so
Give my
was
shield a
not
recharge.
something any of his peers or loved ones were familiar with.
Uy, me friqué bien duro, güey. No sé si es que estos son brawlers, güey.
As I said, Inagawa would continue to tell the tale of this doll and the havoc it wreaked on his and his loved ones' lives
Okay,
for many years. Though now he would do
Man,
so with
it's-
a replica doll, as the current whereabouts of the actual doll were. See, this is why that myth appearance that surfaced online considered a replica doll.
Oh no. Morí.
30 flash.
Oh my god, deja de muerto.
Oiga, casi dale. Le pagué como 10 malos.
The elephant.
I am so.
There's a element of the story that I have refrained from discussing until now. I have already explained that Inagawa is a storytelling personality.
Oh my god, and then.
I'm hurt. Using a phoenix kit.
It was very much commonplace to him. However,
Okay, buenísimo.
one detail I left out, one element of Prince Inagawa's career that he was very well known for, possibly best known for, is that he was a ghost storyteller.
My god,
They
es
spotted
que
me.
igual
I'm
así.
So
taking shots.
famous, in fact, that there is a Japanese ghost storytelling competition named after him.
Quiero
It's called the
estar.
Inagawa
Qué
Grand
flash ahí.
Prix.
¿Tiene una back?
And that way he talks
Need to
fast
recharge
and
my
shield.
mechanics.
Ah, ten.
Way he tells the story.
Care package over there.
Everything from cassette tapes
Need to recharge my
PS1
shields.
games that experienced ghost
Wow, it was just like I see it.
today. Now, this revelation may deconstruct this whole story quite a bit.
Puedes
However,
pushear, ya puse
even
uno.
Inagawa himself claims this specific ghost story has truth to
Cúrense.
it. That the
You're in there.
horrors
They
he
spotted me.
faced fueled
I'm
his
taking
drive
shots.
to
Qué hueva.
construct and distribute the
Estoy
tale in
esperando
the
un poquito,
first
se le
place.
tacha.
Inagawa even states that the tale is a rather difficult
Simón.
one
No,
for
vamos a
him to
rotar.
discuss today. And what of
Hay
the
gente
people
para allá
that
pues campan
supposedly
medio
passed
dentro
on
de
in
la
the tale?
Your enemy
Did
activity
they
this
really
way.
die?
Y ahí vienen
That's
unos.
Ah,
something that I have
Simón,
been
vienen en.
unable to confirm. What's also possible is that Inagawa constructed the story on scaled down versions. Perhaps
let's
the
go.
origins were so spotted he saw that girl's ghost outside his car in the mid-70s. Perhaps all of it is real and Inagawa tells this tale to spread awareness. Perhaps it's not a
Le di
tale
30.
for entertainment
No tengo buena arma,
purposes,
para
that
ir
it's a
a
tale that's
Son los mismos, what the fuck. Se me hasta la madre.
based on true events. Consider this a
Están
warning
yendo.
because that means that the Ikininyo is out there and
Oye,
nobody
¿cómo diste
truly
arma?
knows where
My
it
shields
is
are
today.
recharged.
Hay que
Just
ganar la
know if
rotación.
you ever find yourself come across a doll with this appearance, there is only one piece of advice I could give you. Run.
Oh, me lagué. Mi culo.
Güey, necesito otra arma, güey.
Comprar.
If you watched my most mysterious song of Japan
Sí,
video, you
gracias.
may recall me mentioning a little thing called the 7 Mysteries of Nico Nico. Known in
Yampa,
its native
¿dónde?
language as Nico Nico Nana
Aquí.
Fushigi, the 7 mysteries aren't actually 7. Rather, they're a whole lot more than 7. These many mysteries take place on Nico Nico Doga, a Japanese video streaming service that
Prefiero el
launched
alternativo.
on December 12th of 2006. A currently 15-year-old platform that has as much history as YouTube, but
Target
also
spotted.
some distinguishable differences from YouTube. There are two specifically
Odio que se le puede
distinguishable
poner.
traits that Nico Nico possesses that YouTube does not. The first of which being
¿Traen light?
on-screen comments that just kind
No.
of glide across the
O
screen
sea, para
when you're
darte,
watching
no.
something. This can be
200 nomás.
annoying or amusing, depending on what you're watching. The other distinguishable difference is the requirement to sign up for Nico
Vienen, vienen.
Nico's service, meaning you have to sign up every time you watch videos. This is something that's been a lot looser in recent years, but in Nico Nico's early days, you would have had to make an
Replicator
account in
incoming.
Japanese with the Japanese form to
Hey.
make an account to watch anything on the site.
Sí,
It is
regresó
also worth noting that despite
No sé
the
dónde está
popularity of
exactamente. Eché
Nico
la ulti ahí.
Nico,
Ah, mira, ulti.
Voy a tratar de agarrar un chico y lo meto.
Deja uno.
Rompí uno, rompí uno. Aquí hay uno.
No
sé dónde lo rompí.
Aquí conmigo uno, güey. Ah, están conmigo dos, vengan.
Regardless of this, though, Nico Nico has a lot of history and a lot of urban legends and trends surrounding it over the past 15 years. But before we get into the mysteries themselves, allow me to explain what the 7
Another squad attacking.
situation is as a whole. If you needed me to explain it in 5 words, I could easily say the Japanese internet is weird. I mean, lost media in Japan is typically made to be a lot creepier than it is, or it only gains attention if it just so happens to be something that's kind of creepy. Nichan, the precursor to 4chan in the West, is actually known for having a lot of weird images that kind of spread and gain traction on that webpage. Which, here's a few of them. They are in fact creepy. The Nico Nico Nana Fushigi is among these examples, as the mysteries themselves involve glitches and phenomena within the videos on Nico Nico that are unsettling and unexplained. This is something that has been observed on YouTube as well. So yeah, stuff like that. I guess you could also compare it to the 301 views glitch on YouTube back in my day, in the site's early days. Just a weird little thing that occurred on the webpage before it worked out its kinks. Only in Japan, this kind of stuff is more likely urban legends, and it's just generally seen as creepy. Videos that feature on-screen recurrences have
Oh my ass, te gusta muchísimo.
So the phenomena on the video itself are the consumption
What the? Desapareció la editamos.
comments and the seek bar. Remember I did say that
Ni
the
modín don
across
din.
the screen on Nico Nico. It's worth keeping in mind later on. And this kind of stuff may not seem initially too interesting or off-putting, and honestly it wasn't really to me either upon reading through the articles and looking through the tags. That is, until I realized that these observed occurrences are now all completely lost. The video glitches associated with the Nico Nico Nana Fushigi are now all lost media. I'll explain further in a bit, but for now let's look at the actual examples of what actually occurred on these videos. Might as well start with the most mysterious song of Japan, which is known in its home country as the song on the cassette tape I bought in Akihabara. If you haven't seen my video on the topic, think the most mysterious song on the internet, but Japanese and harder to identify. So basically, in the early 1990s, a dude found an unmarked cassette tape at a thrift store in Akihabara, which is the electronics district of Tokyo. This cassette tape had an unnamed song on it that they eventually uploaded online. The song creeps people out in Japan, and it's gained notoriety in the country for being described as cursed or unsettling. This, to me, is kind of a good example of Japanese media being seen as creepier than it actually is in Japan. As a lot of people just say it's creepy because it's creepy because it's on a cassette tape, just stuff like that. Attempts to find the artist of the song have been made, but the song still remains unidentified. Oh, also, it's a bop. The song was originally uploaded to Nico Nico in 2007, but the original song uploaded was deleted. Before said deletion, the video was said to possess a weird seek bar glitch. The specific glitch associated with it is with the duration of the song not matching up to the seek bar, as in it does not progress correctly. And that's really it. Okay, next up we have another seek bar glitch. It was supposedly seen in this video, which... is that the angry German kid? Huh. The issue with this video was the seek bar going all the way to the right end of the video once the video duration reached the halfway point. Next one is... do I have to censor this?
I'm the jump master. I'll cut us a path.
Yeah, I'm gonna censor it. I don't even know how to begin describing this one, but I can tell you that I did just send it to a ton of people out of context just now. If you're one of those lucky people, you're welcome. Next we have the comments accelerator. As I mentioned before, Nico Nico is known for having the comments scroll across the video screen
la película de Mario Brothers.
Sí, yo soy la película
de
Mario Bros. Sí, de los hermanos Mario.
At an incredible rate. The comments are described as coming from both sides, as they usually go from right to left in the typical normal Nico Nico fashion. The playback time at the bottom of the screen was also observed as being inconsistent. This is not the case anymore, however.
Oh!
Another comment-related glitch is one where the comments just kind of stop showing up at all
Eva,
halfway through
how
the
are you,
video.
Eva?
In some
I am
cases,
so
the
happy
video
to meet you,
durations may show
Eva.
up as shorter than the actual upload length. These videos had this issue. There's also videos that see playback errors too many times. Here's some examples of those.
Reloading.
One last notable glitch is the sequel
Oh,
rewinding on its own, which was observed on these videos. The time duration would get all wonky and display random numbers in the 7,000s. And that is not all of them. This is only a few noteworthy examples that I happened to pick and choose for this video.
Voy a
So, why
crafting,
are there
crafting,
so many instances of this, and why are these issues so oddly specific and
30.
only seen on specific videos? One could just assume that Nico was really buggy back then and leave it at that. Though people on the Japanese internet at the time instead cataloged them and referred to them as mysteries to make the whole thing a little more spooky, scary skeletons. I don't know if it's just me, but these really aren't
Ok, supongo que la probable eres mejor que Altanero.
I feel like most people would just see that there's a weird glitch, possibly look into why the glitch is occurring, and then just leave it at that. So, was this topic interesting enough to produce a video for? Well, in my opinion, yes. Though not for the glitches themselves, but for the fact that these glitches and malfunctions
Que no
are now
quieren porque son
You may have noticed that none of the videos I just displayed had any of the visible glitches on them. They all ran normally aside from the subject matter just, you know, being kind of weird.
They are shooting
This is
at you.
because the site
I
and
am
video
just
player
saying.
have been revamped since then, and to my knowledge, nobody documented any of these things happening before this. So they are now in kind of a weird spot between weird digital lost media and urban legends. And I say urban legend because most of this is based on
Oh my
there's no
god,
actual film evidence of them occurring, but a lot of people did in fact witness it. I mean, the majority of these videos are 10 to 13 years old, and some people may not recall the time when these glitches actually occurred, and therefore don't see them as anything beyond an urban legend. If there is some kind of documented evidence on the internet somewhere, please let me know also. I did my own search, I searched various web pages for this, but I have not found anything that actually shows the glitches. Just listings of the videos that have the glitches. Now, surely, somebody must have recorded their screen to share some of these, or some kind of screenshot or still image at the very least. I mean, I have tried this and have yet to find anything. I've also searched Nico Nico Nana Fushigi in various keywords on YouTube and Nico Nico, and I just get back two things. Videos about physical 7 wonders
Están muy basic, pero están cool.
and an anime called High School Mystery Gakuen Nana Fushigi.
910.
That's really it.
Está
I
cool.
even double-checked these video results despite the results not actually having anything to do with Nico
Lo más
Nico
cool
7
que les veo es que les dura un
mysteries,
putero la
just in
pila.
case they briefly talked about digital mysteries or showed an old
Como
clip of
50
them.
horas.
But alas, none of these titles have anything to do with the Nico Nico Nana Fushigi, unfortunately. But what about the Wayback Machine? Well, you remember that pesky little login issue I mentioned earlier? If you look up these videos by their URL, you're prompted with that login screen and not the video. I've tried various approaches with this, including making my own Nico Nico account to try and log in, but the issue here is that the login URLs from this time period were not preserved as well, making the video inaccessible. Even if they were preserved, I'm not sure if that would help much. I attempted the same process with multiple videos under the Nana Fushigi tag and on various dates that were archived.
Por eso yo también.
One theory I had was the possibility of needing an account that existed at the
Entonces, ¿quién es
same
culpa?
time
Ya
as
me
the
perdí.
archive site. I can't really test this theory as it would require me to have made an account between 2006 and 2009, and I'm afraid I can't go back in time and let awkward baby middle school me know the importance of this task.
Wait! Oh my
If
god!
only I could though.
Estoy bailando!
Only I could. If anyone is was able to get
No deja
one of
moverse
those
el mono.
videos working with the original code attached, then please let me know. That would be awesome. With these URLs being
Oh my God,
archived on
let's
the
go.
Wayback Machine, I feel like there was an attempt made to preserve these
Güey, no
videos
mames, yo
that
creo que
just
jamás habían tirado una
eventually
puta
didn't
mierda
work
que me
out.
tiraron a mí,
This
güey.
is something that just didn't gain a lot of traction and was overlooked and not really thought about until it was too
¿Qué
late.
está pasando?
At least that's my opinion right now.
No se deje
I could
mover
be
mi
wrong
mono.
at some point, and I would love that. With a lot of lost media,
Qué
there
pérdida
is
de
at least
paquetes,
hope
supongo.
that the lost medium is stored away somewhere by the creator. Because these came about due to a web page glitch, all that is left of the actual occurrence is the descriptions of them. The lack of documentation
my
makes
God.
for a mystery in itself.
Yeah.
And there's also the question of if this
Oye,
even
gente.
counts as lost media.
Ajá.
Well, comments on a web page interface, at least for me, does count as a form of media. Media isn't directly defined
esto
as
está muy
something
feo
created
jugar.
for entertainment or something you directly consume. People were still entertained by these glitches and errors in comments and likely sought out the videos just to witness them. It's an alternate version of this video, and I think it counts. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. This topic is kind of odd and random, and I actually was going to pair it with another Nico Nico mystery that's way creepier, but I ultimately decided
No.
La mierda.
Lo estaba viendo.
Ah, me caí.
video like this soon.
No mames, yo creí que está más bajito.
Estaba quitándole la mía.
In a thrift store in Akihabara,
¿Skill? No, o sea, dispar.
it was
¿Qué
here
hace?
that
Oh
an
my
old
God.
cassette tape was purchased for only 50 yen at a thrift store located within the iconic radio.
Wise man said, only fool rushing, and I can't help falling in love with your
Pinche pelona que quiere la verga.
It was a store the purchaser had visited
Ah.
many times in the past.
Yeah.
That voice in your head.
¿Qué, güey? No, es que me mandó el video de...
Bicycle with some friends,
Págame la renta.
turns home and
Wanna fly, compadre?
No tenemos tarea.
others
No pendejada.
a common similarity
Lo mandé a memes yo, güey. Guardando.
been recorded onto, much like how
A random.
you record onto a VHS
Pinches
tape
jodidos.
television
Nunca
program.
tienen tarea.
This
Upon
is your
beginning
champion.
To listen to said tapes, not much is noteworthy, and many of these cassette tapes have some kind of description.
Stay
written on
close.
them,
I'm the jump master.
likely containing titles of the songs, or just a
Shoot
general
this.
idea of what to
Here we go. Ready up. Contact.
Ya, bien inquietísimos. Voy a matar con sus armas. Vamos a ir dónde vamos.
Sí, amiguito. Ahí nos estamos dirigiendo. Pinche Gabito, no se separa de mí. Me va a robar todo el loot. Uy, Chavito, Chavito, no, Chavito.
Me encanta.
Güey, pinche cabrón, pendejo, idiota, cara de
Tú,
puto,
güey,
vato.
qué mamón.
Okay. Why are you running?
Me regresé.
¿Por qué, güey? Era nuestro amigo.
Oh my god.
I'm down.
Luis, ¿qué pasa eso?
Bueno, es bueno lo peino, ¿no?
Enemy down.
Me hizo wallbang. Digo, walljump.
Está racing.
Estuvo bueno.
No. Ah.
Bueno, última parte.
Parker, motherfucker.
Casi tienes el Titanfall 2.
No, ¿por qué tú?
Yo sí, cómpraselo, güey.
Ah, pero cuando le dije, comprense el Division. No me dan punto.
Es que el Division me gusta.
A mí tampoco.
Titanfall
Güey,
2.
nunca lo has jugado, nunca lo he jugado.
He visto
Sí, pero ese estilo de juego.
Me da hueva.
Si no lo disfrutaría, la verdad, no.
Pero pinche mentira.
There are bound to be some.
We'll win this thing together. Semper Fi or die.
I did put a full effort in trying to piece this video together.
The winners out there looking for
Güey,
you.
la Bangalore es una
We'll find you if you let it.
And professional and just
¿La Bangalore qué?
I don't push the envelope. I shred it.
Es professional soldier.
anything that's not correct, please do not hesitate to let me know. And I do have to say this was not my sole efforts alone. I do have to
Güey, Bangalore está en la India, güey,
This time.
¿sabías?
Pumpkins Sensei.
Está en la India, como
So much.
O sea, estamos jugando en la India.
I'm a turner.
O sea, Bangalore es una ciudad en la India, güey.
It all started in the year 2000.
¿Cómo va a ser una ciudad si estábamos jugando con Bangalore?
Along with some background info on the song.
Estás todo pendejo, güey. ¿Cómo
We should land there. Scratch that.
As for info on a board specialized
Güey, Dios
mío.
Here we go. Ready up.
O sea que la pinche prieta esta, güey, tiene nombre de ciudad en la India, güey.
Nombres de ciudad en la India.
Dale, dale, dale.
Oh my god.
Juan.
¡Corre, puta!
La empujaste, güey, la salvaste.
Oh, no, va a morir.
Hay otro güey ahí. Salí una bala. Voy a estar
Está muy bajo. Nice. Yep.
Oh my god, odio esta arma. La odio.
¡Una bala! ¿Qué es Devotion?
¿Eh?
¿La Devotion?
El negocio, socio.
Oh my god, lifeline. Oh.
Está reciando ya ahí. Buena. Tira el humo, le haces daño, la montas y luego la matas.
Oh my god, odio esta arma, en serio.
¿Está reciado el otro? ¿Ya recibiste? Atrás de ti, atrás de ti.
Oh my god.
Are you still watching? Good. This next part is just for you.
Si hubiera tenido cualquier otra arma, habría hecho algo.
That could record up to 20 minutes of audio.
Ven el peor combo en la historia.
That the mysterious song of Japan was not the only
Bueno, ya ahorita hay tan
song
far.
on the tape. As it went on to say that the tape included a song by
Titanfall.
Takahashi Yumiko. Takahashi is an idol who was popular around the early 90s and actually debuted in the year 1990. The OP claimed that they recognized every song on the tape and the other tapes they had purchased